no chat there either. Main screen, again, no chat. Nope. Again, this right here dicks me every single week, and I don't understand why. Like, I want this to grab this, but it won't grab this, and I have to beat it into submission. And we're live. You're not. You are
Now
now.
I am.
Now you are.
Hello.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Waldo.
My name's Thomas.
And I am fighting with OBS right now. I'm locked in eternal battle with the program that is known as OBS. It is a complicated beast. It has
And I have
1,000 little
risen from my
things.
cold, dark grave. I know that if you miss a stream, you might as well be dead, but
You're dead, yeah. Bad news.
I've risen again, just like Jesus.
You're here. You've compared yourself to Jesus, so that's it. Why isn't chat showing up? Dude, I did everything right. Got this here. I go to...
Oh, I did set an alarm for 10 o'clock. Let me go turn that off real quick. We're back.
But it is not appearing on the screen today. Right here. This is where chat goes. But it's not here today. Let's try this. Okay. You're not showing up. You're not showing up. Why isn't chat showing up where it belongs? I hate OBS, honestly. It just does things on its own. Like, it's not there now. Why do you hate me, OBS?
Okay. Still working on that.
Yeah, chat's just not happening today. It's just not there. Like,
Well,
I don't know why
let me
it
pull
would
up the
be.
stream on
I'm deleting it.
my
I'm going here,
personal
and I'm deleting it
YouTube.
again. I have to like create a new one. Sources. We're gonna add a window capture, right?
Sure.
We're gonna call it chat. Gonna hit OK. Name's already in use. I hate you so much.
Cat do.
Okay. We're gonna. Is that the right one? Yeah. Okay. And there it is.
Now you gotta move it.
Yeah, I gotta move it down here. Shrink it down a little bit. Okay.
That helps.
And then we're gonna copy it and put it on the full screen as well. Gonna paste that duplicate right here. And now
There you
chat is
go.
on the screen. So, next issue that is popping up out of nowhere. Let's get my browser on the screen, but that's not happening either. Why is OBS just
This is
donkulous,
riveting
man?
content,
I
I
know.
must say.
It,
I mean, I'm sure that our 0 viewers are thrilled with our troubleshooting of this
right,
issue.
right. That is what half of live streaming is just fighting with OBS. I've seen other live streamers, trust me. Half of it
Oh yeah.
is just fighting with OBS. Um, why is my browser not in this list right here? I want to show you what is in my browser so that we can look at the news. Now, generally, I click on this button and then it shows me all my browsers and lets me choose one. But not today. Today, it wants to do nothing. I don't know what you want from me. Window capture. We're gonna go here. There it is. Good Lord. Okay. So, that's there now. Now,
Hey,
next, what else do we have to do? I have to go
we
into
figured it out.
here and then load up these links so that everybody can see them. Not this one, the other one. And then we'll paste that there. We'll read about some jerks, and then we'll look at this one. And we'll put that in the wrong browser again. And we'll read about that one. And then we'll bring up a Ted Cruz tweet later. Yeah. Um, so, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
I'm good too. A little bit of a
Super
cold, but
busy, a little tired.
yeah, a little bit of a leftover crud, but it should be okay. I will try to mute if I am going to cough or sneeze or something.
I noticed that you redid your video of the DeSantis reaction
Yeah. I started the stream.
in an offline
Feel
method.
yeah, I was feeling bad. I was sick as a dog. I got up too early. Um, I had the wrong link and got frustrated and grumpy, and then just ended stream real early. And then took some cold medicine, took a nap, came back with feeling better, and listened to it. Was there anything in there that you didn't appreciate? Anything, any unfairness that I levied at our friend Mr. DeSantis?
Oh well, I mean, we could go back and see where you paused. I think that there was a lot that was well, that's just your opinion, man.
That's just your opinion,
But
man. Okay, that's
what
fair.
was it? I did definitely have um a disagreement at one point regarding the the censorship, especially as regards to the COVID stuff.
Oh, okay.
Every time he brought up the lockdowns and whatnot,
Mm-hmm.
and you would pause it and go like, "Well, you were telling lies," and
He was,
"Well, they
yeah.
were censoring lies," and
Yeah, they were.
I
Public
was like,
health.
"Come on,
Public
man."
health emergencies. You should not be putting horse shit on Twitter and then people believing that horse shit and then spreading deadly viruses. It's
I don't
bad.
think that's a fair characterization.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. That's we and yeah, I see your point and I see where you're going and that is a dangerous place to be though, right? Like
it can be, but is it really Facebook or Twitter's place to really decide what it is that's dangerous discourse?
of course it is.
I don't really think so. Um, I mean, it is true, is it not, that the messaging on COVID
hmm
and our safety protocols changed almost daily during COVID.
Changed daily? No, it updated, but it
I
didn't
mean, we were
change
told,
drastically every day. It didn't
well,
drastically
hold
swing
on. I
every single
mean,
day.
what I mean is, we were told, for example,
hmm You don't need a mask.
masks.
The
You,
very
you don't
beginning.
need a mask, and then you need a mask. Oh, hold on. Masks don't work unless they're N95s. But actually, don't buy N95s.
Because we
The
don't want
hospitals
the
need them.
Yeah, the hospitals need them.
The
Yeah, this is
don't buy
this is
N95s,
yes.
but the other
This is
masks don't
messaging.
work. But these masks do work. But
This is
also, we
messaging.
told you 2 weeks ago that these these masks that we told you now we told you they work. We told you 2 weeks ago they don't work.
Right, messaging
And
is
also,
difficult.
uh, COVID is particulate, so wearing a mask actually does work, but actually it's airborne, so wearing a mask doesn't work. We had
And
so much conflicting information,
that's
and
why
it was
they I know, that's why they updated us every single day. Hey, at the beginning, don't go buy masks because there wasn't enough and the doctors were going to be overwhelmed and we thought maybe it wouldn't be as
oh
bad.
no,
So,
that's not the reasoning that they gave
that's
though. If they
oh,
had
sure
given
it
that
is.
reasoning outright
They
from the
gave us
beginning,
that reasoning. I heard that reasoning at the very beginning. If you
no, you did
didn't,
not.
yes, I
No,
did.
you didn't.
Where did
No,
I get that
no,
idea?
because after the fact, it was reasoned as, hey, we told you that it doesn't work so that the hospitals could have
No,
masks
that's not
without
what
getting
happened.
upon them.
They
Yes, it
told you
is.
you don't
It
need one.
absolutely is.
Absolutely
No, no,
not.
no, no.
No.
Stop.
They
It
told you you
is.
don't need one right now. And the reason they said you don't need one right now is because they didn't want you to uh, a run on masks and then the hospitals run out. That's what happened.
That's what happened, except that they didn't tell us the hospitals will run out part. They told
Oh, that's
us,
because you
hey,
have bad
the
information
masks
sources.
don't work. You don't need you don't need to wear a mask. That's what they told us.
Nobody said masks don't work. Nobody said that, except maybe right-wing media sources.
That's not true.
That's
And
exactly true.
no, and we can go back in time and start searching, but I bet you I can find plenty of sources that say masks don't work
No, you
from
didn't
back
find.
in.
There is no source that says masks don't work. We can put that off to for a later thing where I'll give you some time to search. But anybody who says a mask doesn't work is misinformation and ought to be censored by Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube
No,
because masks do work. And the people who were suggesting that they don't work just didn't want to wear them.
how to censor Dr. Anthony Fauci then?
He didn't say they don't work. And if he did say it doesn't work, it was in a large sentence about this is the problem, here's how it spreads, the mask doesn't work for this specific thing, and here's the result. Uh, Fauci doesn't talk in bumper stickers. You know,
Well,
he's.
we were talking about COVID, right?
Mm-hmm.
In terms of COVID, we were told many things about masks, whether they
Yes, and
work,
they
whether they don't,
updated, and they updated you,
and
and then they let
yes,
you
and they
know,
were
and then
updated.
here's the
And
new
then
information.
at one point, it did come out that masks do work, but the reason they told you not to go out and buy them is because they were worried about hospitals. They did act like it's an admittance. The admittance has already happened that they did lie about this
That's not a
in
lie.
order to. It
They
is a
told you
lie.
you didn't need one because we need them at the hospital. That's not a lie. That nobody said it doesn't work, don't buy it with the intent of keeping them for hospitals because they do work and they need them and they need you not to buy them. That's not what happened. I didn't. Nobody ever gave us that information. No official source gave us that information. A bunch of unofficial sources did. A bunch of horse shit on Facebook, a bunch of horse shit on Twitter said masks don't work, or they do and they're lying. No, that never happened. I never got that message. I never saw that message. I haven't seen anybody with that message. If you've got some source for that, I would look at it. But
That's fine. I'll find it in
it's
another week or two.
the entire 3 or 4
I think
months
you're running
span.
cover right now, but
No, I'm running what I saw and what I felt happened. That entire 3 or 4 months was filled with panic and uh, information, you know, and it was a wild time. And you have Fauci saying a thing, and then you have a news reporter repeating it, and then you have people reading that news report and misinterpreting it, and then calling it a lie.
so you're essentially blaming any misinformation from administrations during COVID uh, on a game of telephone.
Yes,
Okay.
Donald Trump went out there and said misinformation very regularly
Oh, well, the media misquoted him very regularly as well.
because he's a rambling maniac.
No, because the
He's
media is dishonest.
No, he's a rambling maniac who doesn't make any sense. The things he says are not reality. So then the news media has to try and parse it into some sort of uh, explanation or
Oh, stop.
discussion, and then they have to
Stop.
give it to the
You
people.
you and I both know they did it in the most uncharitable way possible.
Most uncharitable way possible. If
So during
there
one
are
of
some
Trump's
people that did
things,
that, sure.
he rambled a little bit, but he never suggested that you inject bleach into your veins, and then every media outlet ran with the story. Trump suggests that people inject bleach into their veins.
Because he's a doofus who is rambling insanity. And from
Did he
a
say that though? Did he
Yes,
suggest? No, he didn't.
he talked about treatments that are injecting disinfectants.
No, he
Did they
did not.
over exaggerate? Yeah, he did. He talked about the treatments that are injecting disinfectants, and that turns into yes, taking him uncharitably gives you inject bleach. I will say that was uncharitable, but it wasn't based on nothing. It was based on his insane ramblings.
I would say that the basis is weak at best. If they were being even remotely um not charitable, honest, if they were being even remotely honest, they would never have gone to this Trump suggested you inject bleach
Okay, but
narrative. This is bullshit.
that's bullshit and it upsets you. But Dr. Anthony Fauci tries his damnedest to give everybody the best information. And if he's wrong, you're uncharitable towards him. You are 100% charitable towards Donald Trump, an absolute fucking moron. But you're not charitable towards Dr. Fauci, a respected scientist who has decades of experience.
Oh, I'm totally charitable. I understand exactly why he told us at one point don't go buy masks.
Okay.
And the reason is because we needed hospitals to have the masks. But I can also recognize that this was a dishonest attempt to get people not to buy masks for the hospitals. I mean,
You think that's
the
dishonest? Hey,
reason
don't go buy masks. Hey, public, don't go buy masks. We need them for the hospitals. That's
that was not the
dishonest.
messaging. That
That's the
was not the
messaging
messaging.
I got.
No.
I think you get bad messages.
Oh, okay. Whatever you say. But no, I mean, I can be charitable to Fauci. Yes, the situation changed a lot. Um, but I've lost the thread.
Yeah, I
I,
know.
I,
Okay, that's okay. That is not what we're here to talk about today. What are we doing today? We are streaming the news. That's not what I want to look at. We are going to talk about a couple of things, but let me start off today with our sponsor. Today we are sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. If you type in the promo code HANGDANGLE, you can pay 10% more for Raid Shadow Legends. That's
10% more, huh?
Yeah, that's the code, HANGDANGLE.
Incredible.
So, type in the code HANGDANGLE to pay 10% more for Raid Shadow Legends.
It'd also work if you typed in Gesuma.
Why is that? Gesuma.
Gesuma these nuts. Got him.
Got him. Didn't see it coming. All right. So, what are we doing? We are looking at Mr. Trump. Exclusive. Trump captured on tape talking about classified document he kept after leaving the White House.
Uh,
So, I want to get to what it describes as he was saying.
yeah, I read this article
Uh,
while I was sitting in chat waiting for you.
yeah, the July
And
21
I'm
meeting.
gonna say
Yep.
objection hearsay.
Okay. Well, everything that isn't entered into the uh, trial is hearsay. Um, they could enter this as evidence, and then it would not be hearsay any longer. The July 21 meeting was held at Trump's golf club. Two people working. Okay. Meadows' autobiography includes an
There's
account of what
nothing
appears to
that's
be the
actually
same
concrete here.
meeting. There's a recording, and it's
The
entered
the
into
recordings
court
would be,
records. Great.
but a
These are
lot
the
of this
people.
is
Hmm.
hearsay. See,
Great.
like if you scroll up real quick,
Uh huh.
you see where it said on that third paragraph, CNN has not listened to the recording,
Right. They
but
haven't listened to
multiple
it.
multiple sources described it. And then if you scroll down some more,
Right. The news hasn't
stop.
heard it yet. Uh huh.
Uh, where is it? Um, there is a recording, but CNN hasn't heard it.
No, but Special Counsel Jack Smith of the Justice Department has the recording.
Sure.
That's called
Well, we'll see
evidence
if
at
it
this
goes
point.
anywhere.
Right. We have to wait. This is a information leak. This isn't a evidence leak. This is just us finding out what the evidence is. So, uh, Donald Trump has a meeting where he's waving around documents according to. Okay, so let's work it backwards. I'm sorry, I went out of order there. CNN is telling us that there is a recording of Donald Trump having a meeting in which he holds those classified documents, waves them around, indicates that they are in fact classified, and he can't show them to the person in the room, and that's on tape. Jack Smith
That's
of the
also
Justice
not
Department
necessarily
has
what
that tape.
happened.
That's the way they described it, if from
Nope,
what I've read.
because they've described the recording in this same article. They describe the recording and say that they hear rustling of pages, but they don't know if that's the classified documents or not.
Because the
They have no
person
idea.
they he talks about them, and there's wrestling pages, and the people in the room are going to be asked what he was holding at the time.
And none of what they answered, if they were asked, is in this article at all.
Right, because it's still in the court. It's still evidence. It's still with Special Counsel Jack Smith. Special Counsel Jack Smith has audio recordings of Mr. Trump outside the White House and is interviewing witnesses. That's where the Justice Department is. CNN is just telling us what they're investigating and what they think it might be and what is happening. Um, and if the things that he is holding are classified documents, and you can get a witness to say that, and he's talking about them and discussing them as if they are classified documents, his defense goes out the window. This is shooting holes in his defense, is what this is. This is a prosecution shooting holes in his defense. His defense being one, I declassified them, or two, I didn't know I had them, um, or three, everybody does it and it's not a problem. Which is where he's going. He's going with his defense. Those are his defenses.
I just don't think that this is a story, really. Um,
Donald Trump being investigated by the Justice Department and may be committing crimes isn't a story.
or rather, it is a story, but
It's early. It's too early.
way too early.
Okay.
Yeah. They haven't. There's nothing been proven. uh, a lot. Reading this article critically makes the article very thin, I think, in terms of it's the case that it's making right now. Um,
I could see that because we don't actually have the words that he said. You know,
yeah, I mean this
CNN
is a lot
hasn't
of
heard him.
words
Hmm.
for not much of a case that it's making. Now, of course, in court there will be a lot more of a case that's made theoretically,
Hmm.
but I do think that this is not much of anything really. I think
Okay.
that eventually more will come out, and we'll see if it actually amounts to anything. But this is is hype. Now the problem is sort of where I was going with this earlier. Um, the problem is that people will read this article
Hmm.
and think, "Oh, well, Trump talked about classified documents and wanted to invade Iran or Iran,
It
I
was
should say,
it was a typed up. It was about Iran. I don't know if he was uh, trying
containing
to
the
invade
general's
Iran.
plan to attack Iran, deploying massive troops."
Uh-huh. It was
Right.
that's the content of the document.
Point is, people will read this article, and then it's going to go down as, oh, Trump or at least someone in his administration wanted to attack Iran and start a new war.
I haven't heard that angle yet. I haven't heard anybody talking about that.
Well, this is a
I've
brand new story, isn't it?
I've
And
heard
it's
people talking
3 days
about
old.
the just the documents. This is just about the documents at the moment. The classified docs. That's the way the angle I've been hearing it. Here's the classified docs. Jack Smith has evidence about those classified docs and is shooting holes in his defense. He had to have known. I haven't heard anything about Trump trying to
Well,
attack Iraq.
here's my problem:
Hmm.
is that this got reported,
Hmm.
right? Historically speaking, in every case where something sensational is reported, if that thing turns out not to be true, yes, the newspaper can issue a retraction or a correction,
Hmm.
but the number of people who see the original report versus the number of people who see the retraction or correction
Hmm.
are it's vastly lower for the
I
retraction or correction than it
I
is for
agree
the
with you.
original report.
I agree with you.
So they publish this, and if it turns out not to be true, if the prosecutors, or rather if the court decides, no, you don't actually have a leg to stand on, Mr. Prosecutor, uh, well, this still gets out into the public. And if CNN provides an update, that is not going to get the same reach. It's not as
Hmm.
sensational. Trump
Or
didn't do something.
it'll piss me off because I'll think that they're going back on it or changing or he's getting away with something. I could see this backfiring if it's wrong. I could see it what the way you're suggesting. I see this, I read this, and I'm like, oh well, Trump clearly did the thing. We've got the evidence that he did the thing. And then it turns out that he doesn't get prosecuted because he didn't do this thing because this story's wrong. I would be upset. I'd be like, wait, you told me he did the thing. Yeah.
Oh yeah, but again, that's why I said objection hearsay, right? Because all of this stuff that's in this, how many times does it say CNN was told? Right?
Hmm.
CNN didn't see this happen. They haven't heard the recording, but they were told about it,
Hmm.
right? So they're telling you something that someone else told them. It's
That's
like
that's all the
my
news.
no,
Yeah.
I mean, this is like, oh, my cousin's brother's, well, I guess that'd be also a cousin. My cousin's friend's friend, did XYZ. And I heard about it through that friend, then to my cousin, and then my cousin told me.
Yeah, I can see that being the case here. I think you're correct saying that this is too early and there's nothing here yet. But maybe it will be something.
It might be. If there is
Okay.
truth to it, it might be something eventually. But
Okay.
I think we're talking about it way too early.
Okay. That is fine. Um, Kyle says in chat that the lie can travel halfway around the world while the truth is still putting on its shoes. Is this the lie that's traveling
See?
halfway across the earth?
Possibly.
Okay. Cool.
Again, we have to find out. I mean, it's just too early.
Well, yeah, and we're gonna find out. I think Jack Smith is doing a job, and maybe this was a un uh, approved leak. Maybe somebody was like, "Hey, CNN, listen, I heard him talking on a recording, and it's pretty damning." And then CNN runs with it. And maybe that person's wrong. Maybe that leak is bad. Uh, Up in the air. They haven't found the document he referred to on tape. I don't know.
Well, shit.
Trump attorneys
That's
haven't
even
found.
worse.
Well, it's Trump attorneys haven't
Oh, well,
found
Trump
classified
attorneys. Okay.
document
Have
former president referred to on tape following the subpoena, which means they didn't give it to the government.
has the government found the document?
No, nobody's found it.
So it's even thinner than I thought.
No, it's even worse. That means the document exists. We have a document number. We know it exists. The government doesn't have it. Trump's attorneys don't have it, even though he was given a subpoena to give it to the government, which means Trump still has it. The document exists. We know it exists. It's not with the government. It's not with Trump's attorneys. Trump's attorneys, a year ago when they raided him, were given a subpoena to give us this document. They didn't. Because where is it? Either he still has it or he gave it to somebody else, which, again, dangerous. Prosecutors sought any and all documents and materials related to Mark Milley, Trump's chairman of Joint Chiefs of Staff, and Iran, including maps and invasion plans, and sources say. Similar subpoena was sent to at least one other attendee of the meeting, another source tells CNN. So, a subpoena for a document was given to him, and he did not produce it. That only leads to one thing. He doesn't have it anymore, or he kept it against the rules, against the subpoena.
I guess we'll find out.
It's entirely possible that the government lost it. You can go that direction. I suppose that's entirely possible. But the government loses documents all the time. But they would have to then
Very conveniently,
explain
usually.
that in court. Well, I don't think NARA is a um, highly political organization. You know, um, the sources say that prosecutors made it clear to Trump's attorneys after issuing the subpoena that they specifically wanted the Iran document he talked about on the tape, as well as any material referencing classified information. So the subpoena was said, give us this. We have evidence that you have it. They don't have it. Where to go? So this is the update to it. So um, yeah, meeting may still be in Trump's possession. I think that's what it is. Maybe. I honestly, you want my completely biased and that's just your opinion, man?
Oh, sure.
Okay, the man, Donald Trump, is a performer. He is a TV personality. He is a performer. And you know what makes performances really more powerful?
Drama.
Props. Actual props. If you're going to give a impassioned YouTube video about being a nerd in Pokemon, you would have a prop with you, you see?
Uh
And then
huh.
when you talk about the stuff and you're talking about Pokemon and you have a Pokemon on the screen, it makes it more powerful. I think Donald Trump is using actual classified documents as a prop to yell at people and talk about how important he is and describe to people how much of a businessman he's like using it as a prop because he is a
Doesn't have to
performer
be
and a
the
TV guy.
actual documents, does it though?
It doesn't have to be, but
I mean, it could just be papers that he
it could
has.
be papers. I think he
I mean,
could just use
you might be
papers.
holding up that Bulbasaur that you held up,
Uh huh.
and
This isn't a real
and
Bulbasaur.
you might be talking about Charmander, and you might hold up Bulbasaur while you're talking about Charmander as a
Mm-hmm.
prop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think you're right. He could, if he were less of a terrible person, use fake props. He could get a stamp that says confidential and put it all over his drawings, and he could put it on this sheet of paper right here, and then use it and be like, look at me, I'm important. See these classified documents right here? I have them. This is my classified documents, and I'm important. You should listen to me. Do what I say to the person he's talking to. So that's what I think he's done. I think he's just took them, not as trophies so much, but as proof and props that he is
Excuse me.
super important and very serious politician. That's just my guess anyway. Because what else would he do with them? I'm not even saying being completely angry and saying that he's selling them to Russia or anything like that. No, I don't think he's that crooked. I think he's crooked, but not that bad. I think he is just using them as a way to prove how important he is.
Maybe. I mean,
Makes for a good prop, right?
well, certainly it would. I mean, at the very least, it's not on a. He didn't upload those documents to a server that
Right.
could be, hacked at any time and compromised
I
and run
know.
by a guy that doesn't have a security clearance.
No, instead of that, he's leaving them in his basement behind a single lock, if there's even a lock, letting anybody, any cleaning lady in there.
One cleaning lady versus the entire Russian government.
I
I'll
know,
take that
right?
bet.
If only, if only the FBI had done an investigation into that server that you might be discussing, and then found nothing went wrong, and there were no crimes.
Well, they didn't find that there were no crimes. They found that there was no intent to commit a crime.
Right.
Which, if we use the same standard for Trump,
Oh, he will be found guilty. He was told specifically, do not take these documents. He did it anyway. Then they asked him politely. The NARA said, hey, please give us these documents back. He said, no, they didn't. They gave some, but not the rest. Then they put out a subpoena, and in the subpoena, they ignored and gave back some, but not all. And then they did a raid, and they took shit that was in the subpoena. The man is intent. He is intentionally taken these classified docs and not given them back when told to by law.
oh, you misunderstood what I meant
Okay,
then.
sorry.
What I meant was mishandling classified documentation is a crime, regardless of what your intent
Right,
was with it,
right. And if
right?
you
And so
are,
that server we're talking about,
mm-hmm,
the person that was running it
mm-hmm,
was essentially acquitted, or not even acquitted, not charged because they didn't have the intent to mishandle classified information.
mm-hmm. It
And
was
that is bullshit.
that is what the FBI decided.
Yeah, why do they get
Ah,
to just arbitrarily decide, oh, you mishandled classified information, but you didn't mean to?
because they're law enforcement agents. Law enforcement people have
No, no, no.
they
It's
choose who
enforcement
they
of.
prosecute.
Yeah, they do. But they shouldn't be able to. It's enforcement of standards that's the question here. I just want standards uniformly enforced. If the mishandling of classified information is a bad thing, then it should be enforced regardless of what your intent was with it.
Okay. So She had an investigation. They found that it wasn't intentional and she wasn't trying to commit any crimes and there wasn't anything like that going on. There wasn't anything uh, skeevy going on. And then they said, should we prosecute? And the answer was no, they shouldn't because they won't get anything from it. They'll say it was an accident and move on, and then there will be no uh,
You absolutely would get
punishment.
something from that.
No.
If you hold
The,
classified documents
hmm
on an unclassified server, one that is a private server and one that has network access and one that is not secure in the way that we require,
hmm
you have mishandled classified documents. Have you
Great.
not?
I agree. If they don't have a case and they don't have a solid path to prosecution, they just won't. That makes sense.
If I did the same thing, if I
hmm
held classified documents on my personal computer or something,
hmm
and it was found out, I would be in fucking Fort Leavenworth right now.
I don't believe you. That's what every conservative says, but you know what? You know who else does exactly what Hillary did? Colin Powell, Jared Kushner. Uh,
Oh, I hate both of
there's
them.
a
They could go to
huge
Fort Leavenworth
list
too.
of people who did exactly what Hillary did. Huge list of them, all within the government. But the thing they have to do is determine what happened, what went wrong, is there some sort of crime here? And the FBI did a full fucking investigation. And to be honest, the FBI completely lost her that fucking election. She's been punished, I promise. The rest of us had to get punished too, because what we got was 4 years of Trump. They jumped it out
It
in
was a great
October.
4 years. No,
They tossed that stuff out October, a month before the thing, and then we had to scream about butter emails for a couple of months, and then she lost because of it. Literally, I think that specific thing that the FBI did, coming out on TV saying, "Hey, we're investigating this email thing," lost her the election. Then after the election, they were like, "Oh yeah, no prosecutions," because she didn't really do anything wrong. She did things wrong, but not at the criminal level. You can make mistakes that aren't criminal mistakes, and I think that's the position that they were in.
I think that is something that's reserved specifically for the people in power. That whole you can make mistakes, but they're not criminal mistakes. Um, no, I totally, I do totally believe that if I, excuse me, my voice cracked. Holy shit. If I um had classified information sitting on my personal computer, and the FBI investigated me, they would absolutely go for the prosecution. Like
and
if I had the same thing, even if my documents that I had were the
mhm.
same things that Hillary had, I'd be in jail right now.
If that was part of your job, and the reason you set that stuff up was so that you could do your job from home, you might be able to convince them that you were doing it for the same reason as her. And
We
I
have the
understand
apparatus to
that
make
people
it
on
so that you
top,
can do that securely.
I understand that people on top are uh, have privileges that you don't have and I don't have. I get that. That makes me unhappy and I don't like it. But are you going to use that argument of, hey, the people at top get special treatment when they charge Trump? And are you going to say, hey, he uh, got to have special treatment and he gets to declassify things with his brain whenever he damn well feels like it?
No, I'll be very happy if they charge Trump,
Okay, good.
but I will be upset that they didn't charge Hillary.
Okay, we can relitigate that for the rest of eternity. But I think the FBI mean, that's my position. The FBI did an
I just
investigation.
want standards
They
to be
said no.
uniformly enforced.
Good luck. That doesn't work. That's an unreal expectation of the planet. Human beings are weird and sketchy and crooked and don't fit within the boxes of human language.
All right, you pinko commie.
Yes, I know. The world is far more complicated than every tiny little thing can be described. You right wing nut job. Okay. So it's coming for Trump. Maybe. Or maybe not. What's next on the list? Oh, hey. Come on. Woke military. Fort Bragg becomes Fort Liberty. Most prominent move to erase Confederate names from bases. Thomas, why is the military so woke all of a sudden? Is this
They're
a
trying recruitment.
okay?
They're trying to improve recruitment. Um, Honestly, though, I think this is really stupid.
You think it's stupid to change the name?
No, I think the reasoning behind it is stupid.
The reason behind it. You think the reason they changed the name from Fort Bragg to Fort Liberty is because they want more. Okay, so okay, I'm not going to put words in your mouth. Why did they change this name, in your opinion?
Well, it says why in the article.
Hmm.
Let me pull that one up real quick and find what I'm talking about real quick. Fuck. Stream links, and I have to bring that back up. There it is. So Bragg was a Confederate name. I am going to suggest that nobody knows that right now. I don't. I didn't know that Bragg was a Confederate name until you linked this article to me.
Okay, neither did I.
Right.
Um, I had no idea that North Carolina base was originally named in 1918 for General Braxton Bragg, a Confederate general from Warrenton, North Carolina, who was known for owning slaves and losing key Civil War battles that contributed to the Confederacy's downfall. So,
Now, the argument for changing the name
mhm,
was um, to make the U.S. Army more welcoming to current and prospective black service members.
mhm.
How many of those current and prospective black service members knew what Fort Bragg's name came from?
Any that Googled it?
Any that Googled. So like 5.
Maybe.
I mean, I didn't. I didn't know it.
Okay. Well, that doesn't make it not true. The fact that
It does make it true.
we don't know it was named after a Confederate general doesn't mean it wasn't named after a Confederate general. I mean, it was.
I will suggest that the name of Fort Liberty does not sway anybody to join or not join the army.
Mm, I don't know. This is a messaging thing again. This is messaging. Hey, we recognize the past was uh, bad. This place was named after a Confederate general, and we're gonna make the future better. This is progress, I think.
I think this is at incremental at best.
I,
This
progress
is
is incremental.
very, very minorly incremental at
Yes, I
best.
agree.
And honestly, I don't
Incrementalism.
care what this fort is called.
Okay,
So
but it's not the blue-haired pronoun woke nightmare.
no,
Okay, it's just forward moving progress. It's not a bad thing. It's not the uh, it's not.
our army could be doing a lot more to recruit people,
Hmm.
um, other than changing names.
Okay.
I mean, the problem is so severe in terms of recruitment right now, that this actually the changing of a name to drive recruitment is actually funny to me.
What is the problem?
We don't have enough people joining.
Hmm. Because this is not a thing I know about, so I'm not asking you to get to a certain point. I'm asking you because I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you've got it right there.
Hmm.
Um, they have a recruiting goal to so that people that leave the service or that retire are replaced.
Okay.
And they missed that by 15,000
Hmm.
last year.
Okay. Is there a reason behind it? Is there why
Oh
is the
yeah, I do
military?
think there is a reason behind it.
Okay.
I think that in order to join an armed service, you have to have a certain patriotism. You have to have a certain love for your country.
Hmm.
Are we currently um, pushing or advocating in the general mainstream, not just from a recruiting perspective, but in terms of our country as a whole, our culture? Are we advocating patriotism or hatred for our own country? Are we advocating that our country is great or that our country is evil and where our history is full of malignants?
Oh, I don't think we're doing either one of those.
Oh, you don't think so?
Nope.
Do you think we used to push for patriotism? Patriotism,
More often in the past, sure.
and now we don't.
Probably because, yeah, in the past, we ignored or paved over or smoothed over all those problems that were happening in the past. I mean, um,
Well, who wants to fight for an evil organization?
I know, right? Let's
Well, wouldn't that be
let's
why we have a recruiting problem in the army?
there is a recruiting problem in the army, but the problem I think is again, yeah, you're right, social. It is a society issue, and the society sees less value in that army. And I can suggest to you why
I
they
think
see less
society
value in
sees
that
less
army.
value in our country.
Well, they see less value in the army, I
Well,
think.
they see less value in the country, and if you see less value in the country, why would you sign up to defend it?
I don't think that's the. I don't see the people of our country seeing less value in our country. They're trying to make it better so that it is more valuable. If I complain, if I, from a leftist standpoint, say, hey, Fort Bragg is named after a Confederate general, I want my country to be better. I want it to be more valuable. Naming your forts after Confederate generals cheapens our country. Doesn't make it better, it makes it worse. Moving Fort Bragg to Fort Liberty is a move forward and a move up. Our country is better because we changed it from Fort Bragg to Fort Liberty.
Maybe, and that's fine. I don't. I told you I don't care what that fort
Right.
called.
Our
Um,
country is better when our army does good things. But what have we heard about the military and the wars in the past 10, 15, 20 years? Afghanistan was a fucking mess.
uh-huh.
Afghanistan was poorly planned. If it was planned at all, it was poorly planned. I don't think it was planned at all. I think it was a shit show that did not have any planning involved. It was just a rush in there and do some shit. You know,
I think that
um,
our recruitment has some to do with that, but not everything.
well,
I think that our I'll say this. I think that America has a self-hate problem, and a
no,
lot of
you
that
see it
is
as a
what's
self-hate
driving
problem.
our.
You see it as a self-hate problem,
A
but I'm
lot of
going to
that.
suggest to you
Well,
it's
hold
not.
on. You can suggest that, but I will say that I think that that is why we are having a recruitment problem for our armed services. Who wants to join the armed service of a country that they think is immoral and unjust and wrong? Who wants to
Who
defend
wants to
that?
join an army that's patrolling opium fields in Afghanistan? Who wants to be this guy guarding, with your life, an opium field in Afghanistan? Who wants to be the soldier that turns a blind eye to the, I think they were called, what are they called? The ANA, the Afghan National thing, their literal government, as they commit crimes, some of them really, really bad, terrible crimes. These are Marines guarding an opium field. Why would you want to join that army?
So
This
true. But
is
nobody looks at these pictures before they make the decision.
worst case scenario. You join the military and they have you doing this. I think that's worst case scenario. They have you protecting a crooked Afghani politician.
Yeah,
We've
and
been
that is
using
entirely possible.
we've
But
been using our military wrong, and because we're doing a bad job and we're not planning and we're doing bad things, people don't want to join it.
no, that's not why people join or don't join the military. It's a volunteer service,
Mm-hmm.
and the reason they do it is because they feel a an obligation to their country. People join the military not because they look at pictures of what it is that the army is doing right now. They join the military because they have a sense of patriotism.
You get that
They
patriotism from seeing all the good things that the military does.
No, you get that patriotism from loving your country.
Where do you get the
It,
love in your
you don't
country?
have to
From
you
seeing
don't
the
have to
good things
be
that it does. You don't base you do you base your emotions on on nothing?
okay. You get your love of your country from seeing the good things that it does.
Right.
So if everything that we put in the media is, "Hey, your country sucks and it's bad all the time,"
Mm-hmm.
why would you want to join?
Why is the media putting that up? Because that's what they're doing. The media shows you what's happening. And
No, it
what's
doesn't.
happening is bad. And if the bad things are happening, and then the media shows you the bad things are happening, and then you don't want to join the military because of that, that's a solid through line of
No,
explanation.
totally, totally false. The media is telling lies in a lot of cases, and those lies propagate. And when the retraction comes out, it doesn't make the same waves that the original lie did.
I don't think
And
the media
the
lies near
original
as much as you
lie,
think they do.
hold on, the original lie paints a picture. It says America bad. It says America racist. It says America is sexist.
Great. I will work to make those things better, to make the country better. That's not hate, man.
But
That's not
but
self-hate.
hold
That's
on a second.
self-criticism.
If that's the view that people have of America, that Americans have of America,
Mm-hmm.
why would you sign up to defend America?
Yeah, you're right. If the military is doing, or even being shown by the, I'll grant you that the media lies all day, every day. I don't believe it, but
Oh,
we'll
they certainly
use that
do. The
explanation.
Okay, go ahead and finish your thing, and then I'm
Okay,
going to bring up a
okay.
topic.
They're lying all day, every day. The we're spreading freedom around the planet, but they're not reporting on it. All the media does is complain about how racist and sexist and hateful that the American Army is, and then people don't want to join it. Those people could and should work to make things better. How do you make things better? One, acknowledging that there's an issue. Two, trying to be an activist and make the things better by changing the name of your fort, by taking down old Confederate statues.
It won't do anything.
What do you mean it won't do anything? That's
It won't make
literally
any change.
progress. How will that not make
It's
change?
progress in the name of doing nothing. And I'll
That's
tell you why.
literal
The
progress.
media,
Literal progress.
no, the media is the reason that people don't feel that sense of patriotism right now.
Because they're telling you, my position is you're right. That's correct. And the reason they're telling you these things is because that's what's happening.
No, it's not.
That's not what's happening. Don't believe
No,
what the media
the
tells you.
media is the reason, and also they're lying.
About what?
Okay. Well, how about Michael Brown? Let's go back in time a little bit for 10 years, because this is an issue that, um, is a long time in the making, right? Remember Michael Brown?
I probably do. Wikipedia, the killing of Michael Brown. This started off the BLM movement, yes?
Yes, it did.
Okay.
Yep. And do you remember the original narrative around Michael Brown?
That he was shot by a police officer.
Yeah, with his hands up, said hands up, don't shoot. That slogan.
Mm-hmm.
That comes from the Michael Brown thing.
Okay.
Michael Brown had just stolen actually from a convenience store,
Mm-hmm.
and a police officer had stopped to talk to him. He attacked the police officer and then tried to run away.
Mm-hmm.
The police officer drew his gun and told him to stop. He turned around and then charged the police officer, and the police officer shot him. And the autopsy says that there's no way that the bullet holes that were made were made if the narrative the media put out was true.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the narrative the media put out was that Michael Brown turned around and put his hands up,
Mm-hmm.
and then the cop shot him.
Right. They told
Not true.
a not true
It
story.
was a lie. A not true
That's
story is
what-
a lie.
That's what
They told a lie.
witnesses
They lied
said.
about it,
Witnesses
and
told the
then
media that. Witnesses lied to the media. The media reported what the witnesses said.
A witness, by the way, who
Witnesses
was
to
on
the shooting
drugs.
claim Brown had his hands up in a surrender, don't shoot, so protesters later used that slogan. Witnesses lied to the media.
No evidence Brown had done so.
Yeah.
Immediately afterward, there was
And that FBI investigation doesn't come out for weeks. So you're right. The media reporting bad information caused people to get upset.
Yes, it did. And the media was telling not truths. They were lying.
I agree. They were wrong, but they're not lying if they tell you what a witness said. And that witness is lying.
The investigation itself is a matter of very high importance, especially when it results in the kind of response from the community
Mm-hmm.
that it did. This is, I mean, the fact that the media just went, "Hey, did you see it?" And by the way, my recollection
Mhm.
is that only one of the witnesses that they interviewed actually saw what happened, and that guy may have lied. But
Okay.
the rest of the supposed witnesses didn't actually see it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know who the plural is in witnesses, because there may have been one. But CNN went, but every news channel around the fucking planet
Mm-hmm.
reported, oh, the guy, put his hands up, said don't shoot, and then got shot.
Mhm.
Not true. It's
Not
all
true.
false.
Okay.
I will go so far as to say Michael Brown was rightfully shot
It's
because
entirely
he was charging the police officer when he was shot.
the investigation cleared Wilson of civil rights violations in the shooting.
Yes, it did.
Okay.
Except for the fact that if I talk to anybody in normal discourse and ask what happened to Michael Brown, well,
he was killed by a police officer.
well, of course he was, rightfully. He was rightfully killed by a
Did he
police
have
officer.
a gun on him, Mr. Michael Brown, at the time?
You don't have to have a gun on you to be a lethal threat. The dude was like 270 pounds
I don't care.
and beat
Boss,
the fucking and he
don't
beat the
care.
shit out of the police officer in his
Yes.
car first.
I know. I don't ever want cops to kill civilians. I don't want them to.
Civilians shouldn't attack cops.
I know they shouldn't. I don't want them to do that either. Cops have to be the brave one in that exchange. They have to.
Well, my point here is the media painted a picture that says cops are randomly and incorrectly shooting black people on the basis of the Michael Brown shooting.
Oh, they've been saying that
And
for a very
this
long
was
time.
like, well, this was sort of the impetus for this whole movement, right?
This did get a movement started. But I'm telling
But
you,
it's
this
not
wasn't the
true.
first time the people in Ferguson, Missouri had issues with the cops. They've been having very many problems with the cops for a very long time
That's
in
fine.
Ferguson, Missouri.
My point is, when we're talking about a patriotism problem,
Mm-hmm.
when it's a matter of Army recruitment, which is what we were talking about,
Mm-hmm.
when our media goes out and reports all of these things incorrectly in many cases,
Mm-hmm.
you erode the patriotism for the country. And when you erode that patriotism, of course you're going to have recruiting problems for the military that's a volunteer service.
Okay, now I'm with you so far. How do we get that patriotism back up? By making the country better. By passing laws to prevent the Ferguson things from happening. By understanding that these people have a problem with their government. By understanding that Fort Bragg is a bad name, changing it. Make the country better. You will increase the patriotism.
I'm not arguing against changing Fort Bragg's name. I don't know why you
Okay,
keep bringing this
I
back.
know, but
I don't
you
care
said
what
it was
the
nothing.
fort's
You
name
said
is.
it was
It
pissant
is
nothing.
nothing.
It is nothing. Nonsense. It's something. Baby step.
It is
Yes.
nothing because people don't know what Fort Bragg was named for, and nobody Googles it. Nobody cares.
Somebody knew. That's why they changed it.
You might increase our recruiting numbers by 1.
Does that
Not by 1%, by 1.
does that make Michael Brown back to life? No. Does it make Ferguson a better place? No. But it makes one tiny little step toward being better. Hi, we hear you. We hear your complaint. We hear what BLM has to say, and we're
Your
trying to be
Hold on.
better.
Your
That's
point
called
is
progress.
that this is supposed to increase recruiting for the army,
By
changing the name.
yes, it's
I'm
them
saying
signaling that we're trying to move forward and make progress.
that's fine, and I told you
Great.
I don't care if they change the name. What I'm saying, I'm getting at a larger point here.
And okay.
I'm getting at the larger point of this is not going to solve our recruiting problem
No, it's not.
in the U.S. Armed Services. Not at all. The problem comes from a larger cultural issue
Great.
that we are experiencing right now.
Do you have any prescriptions for making that culture better? Because I do. It's
Yeah, stop
changing the
lying.
name of Fort Bragg to Fort
Okay, well, they've done
thing,
that, so
and
I'll tell you what, in 5
getting rid
years,
of
we'll find out if our recruiting problem was fixed or
okay,
not by
okay,
changing Bragg to Liberty.
and getting rid of um, Confederate statues, DEI initiatives. Those things get us away from this problem, this societal problem that you're talking about. Have you got a prescription? Have you got an idea what actually would solve the problem? Does this solve the problem entirely? No, but it's one tiny step towards solving the problem. Do you have any ideas for that?
Yeah, I've got a few.
Okay.
You can bring back the national anthem in schools. That'd be great. You can uh, make it a criminal offense to lie about certain happenings, or not a criminal offense, but let's say that the police officer that was involved in that Michael Brown killing had the right to sue the news outlets. It was easier to prove defamation against them. I think he should be able to do that. I mean, his name was dragged through the mud. He did the right thing in the end. He defended himself. He didn't
Mm-hmm.
escalate force without reason. And yet, his face and name was in the media for like a year, basically.
Hmm.
As a result of this, dragged through the mud, and yes, he should be able to sue the pants off of every single outlet that falsely reported on him.
I think he should be able to sue them for defamation and things like that.
Well, great. Well,
If they did the
there's a state
defamation,
that made it so that that's possible.
if they're defaming him, if they're just reporting on what the witnesses say, then they're not defaming him. They're you can I don't know. I'm gonna look up this guy and see if he did any of that kind of stuff. Um, if the news is lying about you, you get to sue them. That's already a thing. Um, Officer Darren Wilson. Darren Wilson doesn't have a Wikipedia entry, apparently. Probably doesn't want one. Regardless, yes, if the media is lying to you, you get to sue them. It happens. We already have laws for that. Did,
No, they're we've talked about this before. They are far too charitable to the liar in the
no,
case
they're
of
far too charitable toward the media because they don't want to constrain the media because of the First Amendment. Restraining the media is a bad idea.
not if they are lying.
Oh, didn't we start today's stream with you complaining about me saying that Ron DeSantis was lying and YouTube and Facebook were blocking it because of it? That's
Yes.
not okay. It's not okay when Ron DeSantis lies about COVID to block him on Facebook and YouTube, but it is okay to sue CNN for saying the wrong thing. That you're looking at the ends and then deciding what was right and what was wrong in the past. This is a hindsight argument, I think.
Not at all. No. I don't like the censorship of information on COVID because the information was continuously changing. So even the media outlets that censored information didn't know what the truth was.
They have to do their best. They have to do the best they can. They have difficult decisions to make in that situation, and they made them.
And
No.
also,
Okay.
I don't, hold on, I don't agree with the idea of banning people that say Michael Brown put his hands up saying don't shoot. I don't agree with censoring people that use the hands up don't shoot slogan. I do, however, agree with the idea that when people post that, there should be a lot of other people that come in and say, actually, that's bullshit.
Great.
You're
That's
full of shit.
freedom of speech. We're
It
okay there
is.
so far. I'm on board with you. We're freedom of speech. If the
Now, hold on a
that
second.
cop gets to sue,
That cop
yeah, he gets to sue them for lying. Great,
gets
but
to
that
sue
has
them
to
for
happen
lying because
after.
that cop specifically was defamed. If I
Right.
say,
That's after the
if I
fact.
go ahead and say, masks don't work, and also when you get COVID, you should take ivermectin.
Hmm.
Who got defamed?
Who got defamed? You're lying,
Well, yeah.
and you should
Well,
be censored.
no.
Yes,
It's a matter
that's
of
bad information, and you shouldn't spread it around. That
see.
information that you just
Well,
passed is
there's our
harming
difference right there.
people.
Is there that's the answer to your question.
Hmm.
Is in this case an individual was defamed. His name was dragged through the mud,
Hmm.
and yes, he should have the right to sue every media outlet that falsely reported on what he did.
If
In terms of
I mean,
COVID,
those rules exist,
the
and he
media put
can.
out lies, and people put out lies,
Uh-huh.
and none of them should be banned from media for doing that, but they should all be called out for what their lies were. That's two different things.
Yeah, but I don't agree. Uh, the
Why don't you agree? I mean, this
because
is a
if you're
guy's
spreading,
livelihood. Like,
okay, I'm okay with the first part. Hey, that cop, if he was defamed on the news, should get a lawyer. and sue them. Great.
Yes, and it should be
I'm on
easy to sue
board.
them.
Separate issue. That's done, or it's over. We're moving forward to a different topic. The topic is people who are lying right now about a pandemic that's killing a million people. Let's not let them lie. Let's not allow them to spread misinformation. How do you do that? You have to hire somebody who listens to the official narrative and understands it, and then flags and bans people who are posting misinformation.
We are that is
Why is that second?
two.
Why is that
Hold
last
on,
part? Yeah,
those
two
are two
different problems.
completely different things,
Yes, they are.
right?
Why are you comparing them?
You made the comparison.
No, I didn't. You
You're the one
did.
that brought it up.
Okay.
No,
All right.
I
All
said
right. All
that
right. All
the
right.
cop
You're right.
should be allowed to defame to sue every one of those media outlets that lied about him for defamation.
And
And you
I'm agreeing
said,
with you.
well, hold on a second. How is it possible that that cop should be allowed to sue those people for defamation and they shouldn't be allowed to lie about him, but you can lie about COVID, which you talked about at the start of the stream? That's what
Okay.
you said.
That is what I said
Uh
because
huh.
I compared them.
You made the
You're
comparison.
right. I compared them because I saw a flaw in your logic.
There's
They're
no
two
flaw.
different problems. Let's not conflate them. I'm going to stop conflating them.
Thank you. I appreciate that you wouldn't conflate those two completely different problems.
Okay. It seemed like they were related. They are not related. Um, ban people who lie about COVID. Okay. Uh, uh, but it has nothing to do with this lawsuit. Okay. Okay. Why did I conflate them? The
You heard lying in media and conflated lying about a particular person versus lying about a subject, which is
I
up for
gotta
debate.
I gotta take a 5 minute break. Sorry. I know
That's
we're
fine.
super
I will
thing.
take 5 minutes then too.
Okay. I'll be right back.
Well, actually, I'll be back, so don't mute me.
I'm not.
And I'll keep our 2-man viewership entertained, hopefully. But I also have to be right back.
Hi, I'm back. Sorry. Um, Literal Jehovah's Witness at my door. Had to chase him off. Now, sorry for the break there. How's everybody doing in chat? Let's read chat. National Anthem hasn't left schools. I work in education, support, and here every time I'm in a school in the morning. Someone believes you, they could be harmed by you. Thomas entertained me with a moving spoken word poem about how much you love socials. Socialism. He probably doesn't love socialism, you know?
Okay, I'm back. Oh
I
man,
am here as well. I
I thought you said
apologize.
5 minutes.
I
I thought I
I
had some time.
oh I didn't know who was at my front door. It was a
Ah,
Jehovah's Witness. I had to chase him off. Uh,
did you tell him that you follow the Temple of Satan?
nah, I was like, nah, thanks, man. I'm busy. And then they left.
Oh.
Uh, and then the dog goes nuts, and everybody starts barking, and it's a whole thing.
Naturally.
What were we talking about? Okay, yes, you are right. I should not conflate those things. Um,
Yes.
how did I do it, and why? Um, is because I don't know a lie happened, and then you want a consequence, but when a different lie happens, you don't want a consequence. That's how I got that to that point. That's why I
That's fine.
conflated them.
It's just that they're are very different situations between them.
You're right.
So I will go further because we were talking about the our recruitment problem
Hmm.
in the U.S. military.
Hmm.
Now, I would say that there is an overall sort of degradation of patriotism in um, in our country. I mean,
I
we
would
don't
agree to that. I would say
teach
yes, that's true.
love for our country. We teach, hey, our country's actually bad. That's what we teach nowadays,
Well, because we have more
and
access to
and that's
information.
where everything is, and it's in the schools, it's in the media. We don't teach the love for our country that is necessary for recruiting numbers to go up.
And I'm going to suggest
And
that's because of the information age that we're in.
or maybe just because we have bad actors in some cases.
No, pretty sure it's the reality. We've looked at history. We've looked at the documents that we have found and determined that the history we got taught by the boomers, not entirely accurate.
It doesn't have to be entirely accurate. The
I'm going to quote you
problem
on that.
really,
History doesn't have to be entirely accurate.
it doesn't have to be entirely accurate for the sake of patriotism and whatnot.
Of
The
course it does.
hold on, the history that we're taught can include things that are bad things that we have done. But what we've done is make those bad things a total focus. Why is it that we never focus on the good things that we've done?
We did that when the boomers taught us stuff. We
Can we do both at the same time? Because it seems that we don't.
um I think we can do both, and I think we are, but
Like, hey, we did
humans.
slavery. Yes,
Hmm.
we had slavery. Also, we abolished slavery. Like, that's a pretty good thing. And also, slavery still exists in a lot of the world.
Okay, great. The that doesn't mean that everything's perfect now.
No,
That doesn't
nothing
mean
is
that
perfect. It
racism's
doesn't
gone. That
have to be
doesn't mean that
perfect.
everybody gets a fair shake. Humans are generally, uh, what's the thing where you only remember the bad things? You have like a bias towards remembering negative things. That's just how the human brain
That's just how a
works.
human brain works. It's
Right.
everybody. What is it?
Negative confirmation
There's
bias,
like
I
a
think.
certain no. There's a certain rule of thumb. It's like one negative experience can outweigh up to three positive experiences in the same
Yeah.
category.
And
So
so when you
yeah, we
look,
haven't.
yeah,
But hold on, isn't that an argument for pushing a little bit more of the positive rather than the negative, which we push a lot of the negative right now?
no, you're only seeing the negative for that reason that you just described. You just
I
described.
would I would posit that or suggest that a lot of what we're fed right now by the school and institutions and the media and whatnot, those things are majority negative right now.
Oh, I
And
don't
if
think that
it is the
happens
rule of
until.
thumb that you need three positives
Mhm.
to negate one negative, then we definitely don't have enough positives, especially in the media.
Oh, I
I
don't think
mean,
that enough positives exist uh, to outweigh the negatives. Uh, I don't think that negative description that you were
I
talking about
certainly don't think
starts
that
until college. Generally,
I
generally it
certainly
doesn't
don't
start
think
until
that
college.
well, it starts earlier than that. It starts in early high school or late middle school, but or at least when I was in school, that's when it started. But I would say that we could probably do without making up extra negatives.
Who's making up history?
The media, when
The
they talk
media's
about the Michael
making up
Brown story.
history. Okay, the media made a mistake, did a bad job I'm not going to
Well,
suggest they
okay,
didn't.
hold
They
on.
didn't
This
make up
you're
a. Uh,
we're playing this like it's or you're playing this like it's a one-off event. What about Trayvon Martin?
that was also a cop killing it. Like, no, that was the individual guy killing the kid, right?
Yeah, after the kid beat the shit out of him and attacked him.
And after he was told not to follow that kid by the 911 operator, right? The
Now, yes,
911 operator
he
said,
was
"Do
not
not
supposed to
do
follow the kid,
that."
but the kid
Great, he did it
attacked
anyway.
him.
So he made a choice to be a vigilante. Vigilantism is not good. The guy who killed Trayvon Martin, who is still like a celebrity and sells things on eBay that he signed, uh, is fed by negative media, right wing media, telling him that cities are dangerous, that thugs are going to come get him. They're all out there playing the knockout game, and he needs to arm himself to be safe. That is the bullshit that he's been fed. And so he's been fed lies as well. The lies happen on that side too. And he took that information as the cops are useless and they're all PC, blue haired pronoun carriers, and he needs to do this himself. The 911 operator said, "Do not follow that person," and he did it anyway, and he fucked out,
Does
and then he
him
found out.
following that person, hold on, does following that person justify the fact that he was attacked?
Following that person is a situation, is a dangerous situation that he was told by a professional not to get into.
Well, you know what? I am hereby telling all women not to dress like sluts. Because if you dress like a slut, you're more liable to be raped. And if you
And it's
did that,
their fault
then
now. Way to
it's
go.
now it's your fault.
Now it's their fault. You're
Well, that's
victim
exactly
blaming.
what you just did.
No, I did
Do you not
not.
see that? You
He's
just
not the
said,
victim.
"Oh,
He's
he's not."
alive, selling things on
He was the
eBay.
victim. He was the
He's
victim of an attack, and he defended himself from it.
he was stalking. First of all, he was stalking someone because he had vigilante brain rot. He had vigilante brain rot. He thought that he was the Punisher, and he thought that he needed to protect his area from these scary monster nightmare super thugs. And so he had vigilante brain rot from right-wing media, and then he started stalking a kid. And then that kid didn't know who it was, panicked, freaked out, thought he was being robbed, and fought back.
No, that's not what happened at
That's
all.
exactly what happened.
No,
The
no.
he has vigilante brain rot. The 911 operator told him not to do it. He doesn't have a right to do it. You don't have a right to stalk people while you're armed. It is a dangerous situation, and that dangerous situation that he willingly and intentionally put himself into because of his brain, because of his society, because of his social thoughts, put him in a dangerous situation. And that dangerous situation ended in the loss of someone's life. He is not a victim here. What was his name?
He was definitely the victim of an attack. I don't remember his name anymore.
That he provoked.
He didn't provoke shit.
He was stalking a person in a
It's not
dangerous neighborhood.
stalking. No, he was keeping an eye on a guy that he didn't recognize that seemed to be behaving weirdly. It no.
And then he called the
He
cops, and he thought the cops weren't good
called the
enough, so
cops.
he did vigilantism. If you start the vigilante actions, and then something bad happens, it's your fault for starting the vigilante actions.
It's not a vigilante action to
He was
look at
being a
somebody.
vigilante. I have read those accounts. He was being a vigilante.
No, he called the cops. He was like, "Hey, this guy's acting weird." They said, "Yeah, don't fuck with that guy." He didn't. He just kept an eye
He
on him,
did.
and
He
they got
followed
attacked.
him. He was told not to follow that individual. He was told what to do by the authorities, and he disregarded it. And then things went wrong because he didn't follow the authorities. Because he thought he knew better. He is smarter and better than the authorities. He's better than that 911 operator. He's better than the cops because he has vigilante brain rot.
So he was there. Is it? So you are blaming him then for being
He's not the
attacked.
victim.
He is the victim.
No,
He was
he's a
attacked
perpetrator.
first.
He was stalking someone illegitimately. He is victimizing this person. This person Trayvon Martin. Then, while being victimized, and thought that they were, we don't know what he was thinking, but a person is following you. It makes you nervous. And now he's nervous. This is exactly why the 911 operator told him not to do that, because the 911 operator is smarter than, what's his name? I don't know his name. We'll find him on Wikipedia. Sorry for the George Zimmerman. Great. George Zimmerman thought he was smarter than the 911 operator. George Zimmerman thought that he was smarter and better than the cops and needed this done because the cops weren't going to do what he wanted. He is
Also,
being a
I just looked it
vigilante.
up. You're wrong. The cops
About what?
didn't tell him not to follow him.
That's the report I read on the 911
No,
operator. The 911 operator
no.
told him, do not do this. Do not follow this person.
So, first of all, this is part of the community watch. It was George Zimmerman, the community watch, right? I mean, community policing is one of those things that's like a big thing for the left, isn't it?
To report to the police, not follow, stalk them while
Now,
armed. That's not part of it.
the timeline is he called the police department at 7:09. Um, it's a 4-minute long call, and the dispatcher says, "Are you following him?" Zimmerman says, "Yes." Dispatcher says, "Okay, we don't need you to do that."
Great. We
Zimmerman
don't
says,
need you to
"Okay."
do that.
Now, hold on.
He's a
We don't
vigilante.
need.
From that point on, he's a vigilante. And it's over.
No.
It's done.
Stop. Hold on. You said the police told him not to do that.
We
Not the same
don't
thing as
need you to
we
do
don't
that.
need you to do that. Two different assertions there.
He's a vigilante. At that point, he's a vigilante. We don't need you to do that. And he does it anyway.
No, no,
It's
no.
because
We
he's
don't need
taking
you
the
to do
law
that.
into his own hands.
That's not the truth. No.
That's
The
exactly
fact,
what
no.
happened. You're
Saying that
describing it
we
to
don't
me, and I'm hearing it.
we don't need you to do that is not the same thing as don't do that.
Fine. Take back my point that said they told him not to do that. We do not need you to do that. Means don't do that. He's a vigilante from that point forward. He is a vigilante.
No.
And who likes him? Who talks about how great Zimmerman is? Other right-wing vigilantes.
Nobody talks about how great Zimmerman is. Nobody
He's
gives a fuck
selling
about
shit
George
on eBay.
Zimmerman. What I care about is the fact that the media has lied about this as well.
Because it's a shitty situation on both sides. There's no good right answer. I can call George Zimmerman a vigilante, and I think that I'm literally, factually correct. But you can also talk about how Trayvon Martin is this cute little kid that um, look how cute he is here. This child got murdered. You can bend narratives to whatever you want them to be. That's not a lie. The media saying this kid was fatally shot is not a lie. They're saying that he was shot by this guy who was told not to. I say even then, being said we do not need you to do that is being told not to do it. And you can post up very cute photos of this kid and make people feel bad for Trayvon Martin, or you can post up the scariest, angriest photo you can find of George Zimmerman and paint him as a bad guy. But that doesn't mean it's not. That doesn't mean it's a lie. It's just a side.
The the
There
the
are
point that I'm
sides.
trying to make here
Hmm.
is the lies by the media have resulted in an undermining of patriotism.
The lies by the media convinced George Zimmerman that he needed to be a vigilante.
Oh, stop.
He didn't get
It's
vigilante brain rot from nowhere. He got it from media lies.
He wasn't being a vigilante. Just stop. He was attacked first. And when we look at the pictures, you just mentioned it. When we look at the
Mm-hmm.
pictures of Trayvon Martin,
Mm-hmm.
you notice how they're all from like when he's like 13, 14 years old.
Yeah, I know.
They
That's a
the media did
narrative.
their best
Yes.
to portray this as a dude that was killing like a 13-year-old.
Mm-hmm. They didn't say this is what he looked like 5 minutes before he was shot. They said here's a picture of the kid. He was
But
17 year
doesn't
old.
doesn't that omission sort of paint a narrative?
Yes, the media paints narratives all the time. We have to comprehend what those narratives are and why they're doing them.
He was 17, yes, which is what Kyle just put in chat. Yeah, he was
Yeah,
17,
he
but
was.
all these
This is a
pictures,
this is a photo. Yeah,
all the pictures you find of Trayvon Martin in the media are from when he was like 13,
because they look
including this
nice.
one.
What if he didn't have any 15, 16, 17-year-old photos? I have not had a photo of me taken in probably 3 or 4 years. You know, so if you
The
took a photo of
Well,
me,
no, there are photos that are available,
well, other than
but
YouTube, you're
they're
right.
not flattering. Um,
That too. Maybe they wanted to flatter him. Regardless, the
or maybe
media,
they wanted to paint the picture of somebody killed a little black kid and put
which
it
is
on the
what
news.
happened. That's what happened. Does choosing of photos set a tone? Yes, it does. But the media is going to set tones because that's what humans do. That's how humans tell stories. Um, the media handled this one just fine.
You think so?
Yes,
No.
the media is going to get lots of information, just like the Trump story we started with today. They're going to get information, they're going to report on it. We have to be intelligent enough to see what they're doing, see what they're saying, comprehend what they're talking about, and recognize where the narratives are and what they're trying to lead us towards, and if they're trying to lead us towards it. There is no such thing as unbiased reporting. No such thing anywhere outside of maybe like sports stats. I don't think that any sort of unbiased reporting even exists anywhere ever, and it never has, and it never will. It's impossible. Did I say biased or unbiased? There is no such thing as unbiased reporting. It's a just bias and unbiased is a term that I goof up all the time. Do you think unbiased reporting can exist?
So I think bias reporting can
No,
exist.
unbiased reporting.
Unbiased reporting can exist. Yes.
Mm-hmm. I don't think it can exist. It's just literally impossible. And it's literally impossible because it's being done by humans with their stupid brains through text on screen or their stupid language, which is an imperfect delivery device in every way, shape, and form. We've all typed something that we thought was sarcastic, but everybody took as serious. We've all made a joke that didn't make any sense or didn't land because we typed it badly.
Isn't
Um,
reporting supposed to be factual?
no, it's
Oh,
not. It's
so
never.
reporting is not supposed to be factual.
It's
Okay.
supposed to be telling you what happened. It's informational, not factual. It's informational. There is a slight difference between informational and factual.
You're gonna have to
Um,
parse that one out for me.
information is telling you what happened. Information is that Trump story we discussed at the beginning. Here's the information. Here's what we've got. Here's what the witness said. Information is um, what those witnesses said. Hands up, don't shoot. Information. Witness said the kid, Michael Brown had hands up, said don't shoot. The fact is that that's not what happened.
And those witnesses were found not to be credible
They were
because they didn't
not
actually see
factual.
what
Right.
happened.
They were not factual. But that information exists. Information can be bad. Information can be wrong. Information
And it
can be
exists in the
incorrect.
and that information is correct, and the media blasted that out through
That's bad
airwaves. And
information,
then,
yeah.
hold on,
That's what the media is, man. It's information, not facts. You think that the media is facts is just the wrong state of mind to be in.
it is fact in a lot
No.
of people's mind. I'll
Because
ask
they're
again.
dumb. They're dumb. They're wrong. We need
A
we
lot
talk
of
about,
people are dumb.
yeah, a
A
lot of
lot of
people are
people are
dumb.
dumb.
A lot of people are dumb.
We should not be putting in the media wrong information, especially if that information results in a massive problem for the culture of our country. If that results in a recruitment issue for our armed services and that information was false, maybe that information should have been vetted first and verified first before it was reported on. But because it was a sensational headline, it got reported,
Information.
but it wasn't true.
Okay. I'm gonna do the thing that I always do. Why was that sensational information reported on?
Because it was sensational.
Right. Why does a news organization want to put out sensational information?
You're going to make this whole capitalism thing,
I
aren't you?
sure
Get the
am.
fuck out of here.
I sure am. Why does CNN print sensational information before it's vetted? So they can make a buck. If you try hard enough, all of our problems come back to capitalism. Uh, and now
Not
I've
well,
completely changed the subject, and I apologize. I'll stop.
not well regulated enough capitalism. You understand? I'm not a libertarian. I'm a fan of regulated capitalism, and I'm advocating for some regulation here. And
Okay.
you, every time I bring this up, you argue against it.
Against
I'm
regulation?
arguing for
Oh, I love
regulation.
regulation. It's fine.
No,
Yeah.
because every time I bring up, hey, you shouldn't be allowed to lie about this thing, or you shouldn't be allowed to lie in the media, or you should be able to sue media companies for defamation, and it should be easier to sue them for it and win. You go, well, what about freedom of speech?
Uh-huh.
That's what you do every time.
Okay. So
So why aren't you on my side?
information is what we're talking about. You're saying that the news is facts, and that's not the way it ought to be. It's not the way it is. It's not the way it's ever been. You have the wrong mind. You're looking at it. You're framing it wrong. This is a framing issue. The
No.
news is information, not facts. The news is information and not facts. The fact that you think that they've been reporting facts all this time means that you don't comprehend what they are,
They're
what they do, and why
supposed to
they
be
do it.
reporting facts.
No, not
That's
true.
what the news
It's
is
never been
supposed to
correct.
be.
No, it's information, and we need to comprehend that information might be wrong. That information is a report of
There
what was
is
said.
nobody that makes this distinction in the real world that
And that's why our
looks at
society doesn't comprehend what the hell's going on, because they're not educated properly. They don't
because the
think
news is supposed to be
properly.
facts, and they are taught to trust the news and what the news says and what the media says, and then when the media lies, they believe it.
Because they've been taught wrong. They all need to listen to me and listen to that it is information and not facts. Take this information, comprehend it, compare it to other information that you have, make decisions based on the information and all the information that you can gather. That's not facts. The description of the witness said hands up, don't shoot, that's information. It's not a fact. And that's how the news media gets around these lawsuits that you're talking about, is because they don't say, oh, this is the fact. They say, here's what we've heard, here's what's been reported, here's
Well,
the witness
I
statements.
understand. Yeah, well, actually, it's
This,
one news station
they're telling
lies.
you. They're
Hold on.
telling you.
One news station tells a lie, and then the rest report on this news station told this lie. So if CNN says Michael Brown put his hands up and said, "Don't shoot."
Okay, CNN said that.
Then
They said the
the New York
witness claimed
Times
it.
then says, according to CNN,
Uh-huh.
Michael Brown put his hands up and said, "Don't shoot."
And you're
And
smart
then
enough
that's
not
how
to
they get
fall for
around that.
that, aren't you?
Now,
You're smart
now
enough not to fall for that.
I am, but
I'm
the
smart enough
majority of
not to
people are
fall for that.
not.
Then we need more smarter people.
Well,
We need to explain this to people. We need to describe it to them. We need to make sure that they comprehend
it's
the
not
world they're living
possible.
in.
It's literally not possible.
It is. We can make people smarter.
No, we
I'm
can't.
willing to bet average IQs have gone up over time. Uh, People are
They
smarter
have. It's called
today.
the Flynn effect.
They can
But
comprehend it. We can explain it to them if we tell them the right way.
they have to
We
be
sh-
willing to listen, and also, you're not going to get to everybody,
I
and
know.
also, you're not just going to get to everybody, but you're not going to get to any reasonable number of people that would stop this problem. The problem is that we are taught to know or to understand that the news is reporting facts, and they're not. They're telling lies in a lot of cases. Sometimes intentionally, sometimes not. But
Okay.
in either case, what they're doing, maybe you can agree, is unethical.
Reporting what happened and then telling people this is what the witnesses said is not unethical.
Even
If
if
you
you didn't
comprehend it
verify what the
wrong,
witnesses said was true.
right? It's not their job to do that. Here's what they are saying. Here's what's happening. Here's what
They don't.
the
You don't
reports
think that
are.
people have a general duty to?
I want them to be correct. I want them to only put out correct information. But things are going to get wrong sometimes. If you want a more uh, going towards what you're describing, that you want a more correct, more factual based stuff, means that it can't be breaking news. It can't be, here's the thing that happened just now, live, right now, car chase. We can't do that anymore. If you want it to be more factual, facts take time. Information and reporting happens right now. Right now.
Yeah, I
Go, go,
think
go.
I think that this breaking news format itself is a detriment to society. Yeah, I would say that.
And it might actually be.
I would absolutely never comment on something that just happened, this past week. I want to know what the information is on it before I make comments on it.
Sure. And that makes sense. And you aren't trying to squeeze $7 more out of a Coca-Cola ad, you know? You aren't trying to maximize the amount of people watching your content so that you get 2% more on the Nike ad. That's what CNN is doing. They're giving people information. That's what all of the brand new news channels are doing. They're not giving out facts. They're giving out information. And we need the people to see that information. We need them to stick around, and we need them to hear it and come back for more and watch our ads.
I see the point you're making, but I do think that there is a middle ground. I think that if you are telling lies, especially about people, it should be quite easy for those people to recover a certain monetary sum. Maybe it should be however much money you made in the during the segments that you aired the lies about them.
I wouldn't be against some sort of regulation for that, but
Well,
yeah,
the
regulation
the,
has
the
to.
regulation would be a defamation case in the first place,
Right.
and then also above that would be regulation about lies that actually harm society. Like,
How do you measure societal damage? It's impossible. You can't say this society damage was worth 17 million and that's how much you're going to get. Society is a complicated tapestry that you can't really. It's hard to measure things within
that's fair.
society. You know.
Well, then I'll stick with the defamation stuff
Okay.
first. Um, why did you argue against me a couple weeks ago when Florida passed a defamation bill that made it way easier it lowered the bar for defamation.
Oh, because I think Ron DeSantis is an actual fascist who is going to use that to harm his political opponents.
But but do you think the bar for defamation should be lowered or not?
The bar for defamation should be lowered. Um,
It's very,
maybe.
very hard to prove right now.
Maybe. It's hard to put a pin on it, but maybe it should be lowered a little bit. But at this, and that would lead to a slower, more factual newscast. I
I think
think
that would be great.
capitalism is going to push back on you because that would lead to less of the breaking news. I mean, we can turn on any of the news channels right now and look at the breaking news, and if something exciting is happening, they're going to film it and they're going to put it on TV.
Yes, I want less breaking news and I want
Okay.
less lies.
Okay. Well,
I mean,
that's fine.
what was his name? Nick Salmon? Remember him?
No, who's Nick Salmon?
He was the one that was in high school, and some Native American guy that was at like a protest or whatever, like was beating his drum in his face and whatnot, and they took a picture and said that Salmon was like a racist or whatever against Native Americans, and it turned out the whole video was nothing even remotely close to what was reported.
It was a media spectacle. Yes, I agree.
And they made it one. It wasn't a media spectacle.
Of course they made it one. Of course they made it one.
They took the picture.
That's their job.
Of him kind of being like, what the fuck is going on here? And then it was they painted it as his expression was a smug expression.
Mm-hmm. He was wearing a Trump hat and being an anti-protester.
No, he wasn't. He was on a school trip.
I thought he was wearing a Trump hat. Why did the school take him to a
He might have been wearing a Trump hat, but
regardless, and that's just optics. That didn't harm society.
Now,
I forgot who
Salmon
he was and moved on and never heard about it.
It did harm society in a little incremental way, just like the changing of a name changes things in a little incremental way.
Okay, one tiny step backward.
The lie that the media told about Nick Salmon. He did sue for defamation, but because the standards for defamation are so high, and it costs so much to actually prove it in court, he ended up settling with a number of these news stations that defamed him. I would suggest
the system works.
That the bar should be lower, because those cases should have gone to court, because they outright lied about him and why this situation occurred, and he should have been able to get a lot more money than he did, and also discovery should have happened on those corporations as well. The whole reason that the whole Tucker things and whatnot came out, the text messages and whatnot, is because of a defamation lawsuit by Dominion against Fox News, where discovery took place. Salmon, because the defamation the defamation rules are such that if you go to court, you may not win. Even though I think his case was clear as day, a defamation case, he would and should have won that. But it's so difficult to prove, and it's so difficult to maintain your expenditures. Dominion was capable of doing that because they had lots and lots of money to spend.
Capitalism, okay.
Well,
I mean, Dominion has the money, and Salmon might not have enough money. Those are capitalistic issues. I get it.
Well, I understand where you're coming from there. I just think the bar should be lowered. And guess what? Under Florida's new laws, the ones that you were very upset about because you think DeSantis is a fascist, Salmon could have won in Florida, and whatever company that he sued, whether it was CNN or MSNBC or whatever, would have had to pay his court fees. I think the
Okay.
defamation law in Florida, the new one, is actually a really good one. And you don't like it because you don't like the person that passed it.
Right. I don't trust him. I don't trust Florida Republicans. I think that they will use the law to harm people. And they will use the law, that same law, to protect themselves. That is how I see Republicans operate.
Yeah, you just assume everybody acts in bad faith. I
I
get it.
see it. It happens a lot. It keeps happening because it's what they do. So I'm taking their past actions to weigh the current law they're passing and guesstimating their future actions with that. I'm analyzing almost. Um,
Guesstimating, aka guessing.
Also, yes, also known as analyzing. Yes, guessing. Predicting things is hard, especially the future. Um, I am predicting
It's kind of a
the
neat prediction.
Republicans will do the thing in the future that they have done many, many, many times in the past. The
Anywho,
laws that you're discussing are, I don't mind the idea of them uh, getting a little bit tougher. I don't want a Florida Republican to pass them because I don't trust them. So what stops it from happening is the breaking news cycle and the capitalism, all the money they make off of that. They will fight against this law that you're suggesting.
the one that passed in Florida.
The
Yeah.
one that passed in Florida will get
And
challenged
you will fight
by
against it too
a
because you don't
news
like who passed it.
organization. Right. Because, yeah, sometimes.
And it will
Um,
be fought by a news organization because news organizations like to lie.
no, because they like
And they don't
money,
like being
man.
punished for
They
it.
like money.
Well, sometimes lying
If
generates money.
this doesn't hit their bottom line, they won't fight it. If it hits their bottom line, they will. Because that is, again, the root of all our problems. Money.
No,
If
no,
news
the
organizations
capitalism and socialism argument is a totally different one.
news
You can
organizations
bring this
didn't
back.
used to run a
Hold on.
profit.
You can
They
bring this
didn't used to
back
run a
to
profit.
capitalism versus socialism all you want, but the fact is that it's not the root cause. We can do the capitalism versus socialism argument if you like uh, at any time, but uh, no. I mean, you bring it back to this, and it doesn't make sense.
Can I make a uh, okay? I- Is there a news organization that isn't interested in profit? There is. It's
No.
PBS. PBS funded by the viewers like you and the government. Far less sensational, far less entertaining, far less breaking news, and far more factual than CNN. PBS, more factual, more correct, slower to get their information out because they are not trying to catch that breaking news wave. They are trying to be correct and give you the correct actual facts. And they're
I've
not
heard
profit driven.
PBS a few times and found them to be biased,
Oh, I
and I
find them
don't
to be
like that.
incredibly boring. Well,
And biased and boring at the same time. But maybe I'll listen to them a few more times because I don't listen to them often.
okay.
Um,
I don't blame you.
so
They're boring. But this is the road you're traveling towards, is a more boring, more correct, less sensational news. And we have that right now because they're not chasing the profit motive. I mean, this thing exists, and it's called PBS, and you just said they were biased. We could look into that later. Something along
yeah,
those lines, like PBS numbers, or how much they make, or how much they're paid, or how much the stuff, and maybe we'll find some old discussions about what they things that they've published and how often they
yeah.
lie or not.
All right,
Because I
I got a video for you to watch.
sure I like videos.
Um, So you made me watch a Michael Knowles video
I made you watch the
several
Michael
weeks
Knowles
ago.
video. Okay, yeah,
Yeah, you
because
did.
he was complaining about the transits. Yeah, yeah.
And now YouTube has decided that I really like Michael Knowles.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry.
Even though I didn't
I
know
apologize.
who he was
I
before
mean,
you told me.
he's headlining CPAC. It's not like
I get it,
he's
but
nobody.
it keeps recommending speeches, and one of his speeches actually caught my attention.
Okay.
And it's a speech called "The Libs Are Wrong About Everything."
Oh, wow. Oh my
And I
goodness.
was like, "Whoa, that's a headline." So I clicked on it, and I found that actually there is, at least at the beginning of the speech, something that I thought was very interesting for our stream.
Okay.
And it's actually at one point, remember a couple of streams ago when I said you get what you earn?
Mm-hmm.
Well, he makes a very similar comment here, and I was like, oh, that sounds a lot like me.
Mm-hmm.
And then also he characterizes your position,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, oh
About
man,
all the things that you don't earn that in
no,
actual
he
life. No.
characterizes your position as a, I won't call you a liberal, but for leftists,
Mm-hmm.
about what it is that you value the most. And I was like, oh, that sounds like Waldo. Also, he talks about abortion.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember during our short abortion conversation, you agreed that yes, the baby is a human life, or the fetus in the womb is a human life that is fine to kill because it is an impediment upon the woman's choice
It's not how
or
I would have
autonomy.
put it, but fine.
And I was like, man, that sounds exactly like what I just talked to Waldo about
Mm-hmm.
a couple of weeks ago. So we have a video to watch.
Excellent. Did you
I would
link
start
it to
it.
me?
I'm linking it right
Okay.
now.
Okay.
I would put it at 5:11 as the starting point. And anytime you feel like pausing, um, I think there's at least like 10 minutes where I generally think he makes some good talking points.
Five
But
minutes, 11 seconds. Okay.
yeah,
Here we go. It's an hour-long thing, isn't it? 5 minutes, 11 seconds. Okay. Okay. Got him paused here. I will swap this button on the main screen here. There is Mr. Michael Knowles. And you can't hear what he's saying, right?
well, I got the video pulled up on the screen, so if you tell me when to hit play, I'll hit play. And then if you
Okay.
tell me if you just say, before you have a problem, just say pause, and I'll pause it. And I'll make sure that I'm at the same
I'll
timestamp
try
as
not
you.
to do it every 2 seconds, but it might happen because I think this guy's very wrong about a lot of very things. I'm going to turn on my audio, and then I'm going to hit play.
Sense in light of
All right.
reality, but they do make sense relative to one another. There is a kind of consistency to not just his, but to all liberal views, even if it doesn't always seem so on the surface. On the surface, it seems absurd that liberals support abortion but oppose the death penalty. They reject the right of the civil authority to punish criminals, but they support the arbitrary murder of innocent babies.
All right, pause it.
Okay, hold on.
Okay,
So,
all right.
this sounds like a lot of our recent
No,
conversations,
he's
actually.
mischaracterizing the left's complaint about the death penalty.
What is the
He's
complaint?
done the thing that he's making the wrong argument and saying that that's our argument.
What
The
is your
left
argument?
disapproves of the death penalty, not because it is more expensive, and generally I'm not super hard against it, I recognize that it should be fine for 100% murderers, people who are absolutely admitted that they did it, and we find that they are not acceptable to put into a prison. This isn't about life. It's about the state's power. I don't
Interesting.
want the state to have the power to willy-nilly murder people. And I don't want the state to have power over the choice a woman has to make when she's pregnant. So, I'm sorry.
I think that you might be one of the more moderate leftists in this case because
Yeah, I know. I
in terms of the
recognize,
death
yes.
penalty,
In terms of the death penalty, I think you're right.
I think that the left in general, and which is where he's coming from,
Very much against it.
is the
You're
left
right.
in general is very much against the death penalty, and he's about to talk about why.
Okay, all right. I'm sorry. I knew this would happen. Okay, I'm going to hit play.
Conservatives take the opposite view. We tend to support capital punishment, and we oppose infanticide. So are we all just hypocrites? No, I don't think so. I don't think either side is hypocritical, really. Both sides are just following their premises to their logical conclusions. Conservatives tend to believe that justice derives from the objective moral order, which human beings naturally perceive through our conscience, and to which we are all accountable whether we like it or not.
Pause it here.
Justice, which means rendering...
There is no such thing as an objective moral order. Get the fuck out of here. There
Really?
is no such thing as an objective moral order. God, no.
Interesting.
No, there's no such thing.
I think
Pretending
you and
that
I
there
differ
is,
there.
pretending that there is akin to a religious belief.
He definitely derives the idea of an objective moral order from religion.
From his religion, yes.
But I will say that I do think that there is a value to an objective moral order, or at least assuming that there is one. Because a subjective moral order allows for whatever you want. We can look back at a previous moral order, right, of slavery, for example.
That was a moral order. I agree.
If it was okay to do slavery back then, and we know that that was bad, well, it was to the people back then, right?
They were wrong.
And they were wrong.
Great.
Okay,
Someday,
hold on. Whoa.
Okay, sorry.
If they were wrong, then the moral order is not subjective because to them, the moral order was fine.
It's entirely subjective. We just told them it was wrong. They will look you, those people who lived under that moral order and thought that it was objectively correct will look you in the eye and tell you it is objectively moral order for us to have slavery.
No.
That's what they do. That's what they will do. They thought it was acceptable, and so they did it. And we're telling them that it's
when
wrong
you look at them,
because there is no objective moral order. No such thing.
And
never has been.
So you tell them that it's wrong.
Yes.
And they think that it's right.
Yes. They think it's the objective moral order.
No, I think that you have an idea of an objective moral order in your head.
No.
And you know that slavery is wrong.
No, I know it's wrong based on the evidence and the outcome. And the, like he did actually get something.
Objective.
What was that thing he said? The premise. Yes. I start from certain premises and follow those premises out. That's the thing that I do. He's correct there, saying that the left has a handful of premises that they follow to the end. That's what everybody does or should do.
So does the right.
So does
That's
the right.
the point he's making.
Right, and
because we come from very different
and theirs on the right
values.
Has an objective moral order. He just said that the right has an objective moral order. And I don't think that exists. It's never existed.
You don't.
And he can't prove it. No.
Well, certainly you can't prove that it exists. I think we know right from wrong, though. I think that if we really parse it out, there is at least a certain standard that should be upheld universally, right?
No,
Okay,
there is
so
no.
some
Nothing is
societies
universal.
should be
Nothing is
allowed
universal.
to have. So some societies should be allowed to have slavery.
No, I don't want
Well
any of them
then,
to. They shouldn't
oh,
be allowed to do
I don't
such a
care
thing.
what you want.
Okay, great. That's all
No,
that
I'm
matters.
talking about.
There is no
Uh, uh,
fact.
uh, no, I'm
Hmm.
talking about what should be.
Great.
Where does the should come from?
Our own minds when we build ethics.
He just mentioned that, though, isn't
Right.
it?
And he
It's
said
it's
he's
about.
objectively correct. That's what he's telling
Uh,
me.
hold on.
Objective moral order means that exactly
I do
what
think
we
there is an
say is
objective moral
correct.
order. Yes, stealing is bad, killing is bad.
Unless you're a
Uh,
soldier, right? So there are ways around it.
Hold on.
Right. That's what I'm saying. There is no objective moral order. There's no such thing. There never has been.
No,
And
no,
you will
there is
find
still an objective.
holes in it.
That's no, that is not inconsistent with an objective moral order. Being a
Of course it
soldier is facing a threat against your nation or to.
Mm-hmm. And you killed people, but killing's bad. So
The
there are
killing is bad.
exceptions. All right, now we're getting somewhere. So there are
There
exceptions.
are exceptions,
There are
except that
loopholes.
those are
There are
still
reasons to do
those-
such certain things.
those can still exist within an objective moral order.
They literally can't.
Yes, they
Then it's
literally
not
can.
objective. Then it's not objective.
It is objective.
And it's not
No.
universal. If exceptions and loopholes exist, it's not universal, it's not objective.
Totally silly. If exceptions, loopholes exist, then it's not objective. Is a ridiculous.
It becomes
assumption.
subjective.
No.
Where do
Because-
you get
no,
that
it's
loophole? How do
not.
we measure that loophole? How do we determine whether or not somebody was killed within the bounds of a war and a soldier? Is Al Qaeda a member a soldier? Not really.
I'll take it a step back here.
So it's subjective.
If someone attacks you and you kill them in self-defense,
We have to look at the.
was that objectively wrong to do?
We have to. I don't make
Oh, it's a
decisions
yes.
based. I don't make decisions based on objective morality. I make things off of subjective morality. What did you do? Why did you do it? How did this happen? What are the criteria that
That's
led
not
to this
subjective.
situation? That's subjective. I'm taking
No, it's
the
not.
situations and describing them and comprehending them and saying yes that this one is correct and no this one is not correct.
No, you have the wrong definition of objective and subjective then.
I don't think so. Subjective means asking questions. Subjective.
Objective
that
means facts. and
Objective means
subjective
facts.
means feelings.
I don't think so. But
It does.
no, subjective means what the people are thinking and what they're doing and how they're doing it and why they're doing it.
Negative.
My ankle hurts. That's a subjective statement. I have a broken ankle. That is an objective statement because you can see it with like an x-ray. So that's an objective thing. Subjective means my ankle hurts.
Okay.
And that's basically my definition.
Someone says my ankle hurts, and we do a whole bunch of scans on them, and we figure out why it is that their ankle hurts. That'd be
Right.
objective, right?
Yeah, that's objective, yes.
And what if we do all those scans and say there's nothing wrong with you?
We try to treat their subjective issue. You do your best to solve that subjective issue, unless you think they're lying for some reason. But, hey, my ankle hurts. Let's try and fix it. I don't see an object. I don't see a broken thing, but I trust you and I believe you, so we're going to try to give you some Motrin. We're going to give you some Tylenol. Maybe it'll hurt less later.
Take some
But
Tylenol. Do
under
some,
under an
ankle
objective,
exercises.
if under an objective worldview, would you not give them any medicine because you don't see anything wrong?
I certainly would not prescribe them Percocet.
Okay, great. And you wouldn't, and neither would I.
Okay,
So
great.
these things
So-
all have to be measured against harm versus benefit versus cost. Harm, benefit, and cost all have to be measured. And if you're measuring harm, benefit, and cost, you don't have an objective moral order. You simply don't.
No, that all those things fit within an objective moral order. They do.
I don't think, don't see how, but do you want to go on with this video? Because I think
Sure.
he's going to describe it a
Yeah.
little bit more, maybe.
He might. Yeah. Let me ready?
Okay.
Go.
Ready, go.
To each and to all what belongs to them impels us to protect the innocent and to punish the guilty. The two impulses derive from the same premise, namely the premise that man is made in the image and likeness of God. That is the only way that man can be said to have any rights at all. Therefore, whosoever sheds the blood of man, by man shall his blood be shed. No hypocrisy at all. The two go hand in hand. And the same goes for the liberal position. Liberals support abortion and oppose the death penalty because liberals tend to deny any obligation to an objective moral order. They are liberals.
Hey, it's you.
Hey, it's
They
me.
seek liberation, ultimately, from all constraints, be they political, traditional, familial, moral,
Freedom.
even biological today.
Freedom.
They're trying to liberate themselves from.
Yeah, you're a Satanist.
Many of them deny
Very
that
much.
the moral order even exists. Most of them deny that we can know very much about the moral order, if it does exist. And even if we could know something about the moral order, liberals claim a right to defy it because their highest political goal and good is not justice, but liberation and the endless
Freedom.
expansion of individual autonomy. Babies in the womb are alive and human. Even abortion defenders, when they're being honest, will admit that fact.
Hey, it's you.
Yes.
But those babies in the womb are an impediment to their mother's autonomy.
Yes.
And as babies in the womb, like babies outside of the womb, are not autonomous in themselves, as they do not possess what liberals consider to be the most important human feature, self-determination,
Freedom.
the liberals
Yes.
see no problem killing them.
Great.
Criminals, on the other hand, whatever you want to say about them, they are autonomous.
Mhm.
The abuse of their autonomy is what landed them in prison in the first place. And so liberals feel uneasy executing them or even imprisoning them. Hence the recent liberal campaigns to defund the police and to abolish prisons. The same thinking extends to what is called euthanasia. Euthanasia, which is a euphemism for clinical procedures that run the gamut from assisted suicide to outright murder. We saw the latter example in the Netherlands just a few years ago when doctors killed a woman, a dementia patient, against her will. The family had to hold her down. That was called euthanasia. Now, euthanasia literally means good death, which is ironic because for most of our civilization's history, people have considered murder and suicide, especially, to be the very worst kind of death. Traditionally, when Westerners prayed for a good death, they meant a natural death with plenty of warning so that they could prepare their souls for judgment. Today, when liberals lobby for a good death, they mean precisely the opposite. They mean intentional killing that corrupts both the body and the soul by occurring in the commission of a serious sin.
Religious argument.
Conservatives oppose assisted suicide because we consider suicide an offense against not only the civil law, which in most places today still prohibits suicide, but against the natural law and against God, the author of the natural
Religious
law.
argument. This guy has nothing
We oppose
but
assisted
religion.
suicide because
Oh, he has plenty,
it is
I
the
think.
ultimate expression of despair, and we fear that that will impel the sick and the elderly to kill themselves for fear of being a burden to their families. Liberals tend to support assisted suicide because they view it alternately as the maximal expression of individual autonomy for those people.
He won't say the
who
word freedom.
choose it, and also
He's
as
not
a
gonna say it.
final remedy for those people, such as dementia patients, for example, who no longer can choose anything at all, and who therefore, according to the liberal view, have lost what most makes them human. So who's right? We've got a consistent conservative view and a consistent liberal view. Do we just agree to disagree? No, of course not. If we're
This is
going to
pretty
have a
much the end
country,
of where he describes.
then we need laws. And if we're going to have laws,
Laws.
we need to come to certain conclusions about what is
Conclusions.
right and what is wrong.
Okay, I'm pausing it right there. Is there more that you would have us see?
No, I think that he characterized the argument very well there, actually.
I think he did, actually. He didn't use the word freedom because he wants to be the Freedom Party. There is a Freedom Party within American politics, and it's not the right. It's the left. And he just described it. He just said autonomy, maximum autonomy, the maximum choices that the liberals want. That is freedom. And that is my entire premise. Maximize human freedom.
Yeah, do what thou wilt, right?
And that leads to leftism, yes.
I got you would agree to the Satanist slogan there. Hilarious.
Because Satan doesn't exist. There's no such thing as a Satan. But I recognize that what the Satanists are doing. There's no such thing as I'm a harsh atheist. There is no God. There is no Satan.
That's fine. That's fine.
So
Even if you don't believe, and I'm agnostic myself,
Mhm.
but even if you don't, what do you think religion is? And actually, before you answer, take a minute to think about it. I have to use the bathroom.
Sure. If you're watching the stream, give us a thumbs up, give us a like. Follow me on Twitter so that you can cancel me properly. My Twitter is on screen right now. Yeah, there it is. Waldo_last name. That's my Twitter. Because that's my name. So, very fun. Follow me there. Wonder if we have, yeah, 2 watching right now. Oh my goodness. Thanks for coming in, guys. Thanks for coming in, chat. I don't know how much longer we're going to go today because I don't want to do an entire super atheism stream. I could, because I could talk about that for hours and hours and hours. But I don't know that I have hours and hours and hours to spend on it today, you know? But yeah, I think Mr. Michael Knowles there actually did describe my position very well. He should have used the word freedom, but he did not, because he doesn't. I think that's a messaging issue. He chose the word autonomy rather than freedom because he wants his people to think that they are free. I think he deliberately and willingly used the word autonomy there rather than freedom. Because I think he, not Thomas, but Mr. Michael Knowles there, has a bad definition of freedom. The conservative definition of freedom means being a middle-class white cis person with a wife, 2.5 kids in a house in the suburbs and a white picket fence. That's freedom, baby, to them. So all the work you do to get that far is freedom. So when you get there, you're free. And if you don't want to be a white, cisgendered, married person with 2.5 kids in the suburbs with a picket fence, then you're anti-freedom. You're opposite of what they think freedom is. You're using your freedom wrong, or you're trying to attain something that they don't think you should be obtaining. Their American dream is freedom, but they have a bad definition of the word freedom. That's what I think Michael Knowles tends to do. Hence the reason they want to go back to the 60s. Right, Shinseto. I think when Michael Knowles sees a white cis family in the suburbs with a white picket fence, he sees freedom. And he calls it freedom. That's why he doesn't use the word freedom in that 5-minute clip we just watched. But I'm ranting. You were asking me about religion, and I would give you an idea about it, and then probably suggest that we talk about it next week, as it is lunchtime, and I get hungry.
Man, you guys started eating breakfast at like 9:30, so we can have longer conversations.
Well, the other idea is that I have to edit all this, and if we put more than 3 or 4 hours, then I spend. So every minute we're here is basically you just double the length of the stream for how much editing I have to do. So a 5-hour stream means I have to edit for 10 hours next week. and that's no
You
fun.
could let me do some editing. I've already offered.
I might let you do some editing. Uh, what
But
we're
I
talking
had
about
a question
religion.
for you.
Yes, yes. Yes, yes.
What do you
Give
think
me a question.
religion is?
Well, I think it is.
Yeah.
I think what it is now or what it was. I mean, it's a complicated question.
What
It's a
is it?
globally human spanning thing.
Yeah.
It is.
Regardless of which denomination, whether it's Christian or
Mhm.
Hindu or Muslim or Jewish or uh, what's the other one? Buddhist.
The old Abrahamics. Yeah. It is a belief system.
Okay.
A system of
Well,
beliefs.
that's what it is.
Hmm.
I guess would be a good definition of what it is. Uh, Maybe a better question then is why is religion?
Oh, why? There's 1,000 reasons for that. Um, why is it? Uh, it's because humans are afraid of death generally. I think is the base uh, situation. Humans being afraid of death have been uh, trying to comprehend it, and they're afraid of it. And I would suggest, probably, if I had to build you a narrative, that the very first belief system was always based around death. Hey, he died. What happens after that? Or why don't we want to die?
I think that the why of religion is actually much deeper than that. Or actually, not deeper, but much more practical than that.
You're gonna say control?
Um,
Because that I
you
think
might
the
characterize it that
I
way.
think the fear of death leads to control.
The fear of death certainly provides a personal impetus to certain behaviors, right?
Hmm.
Um, I think that in terms of religion, even if I necessarily, or I don't necessarily uh, buy into everything about a particular religion, I think that religion is a handbook. It is a guide to creating and maintaining a functional society.
And I think that was super necessary 2,000 years
And
ago.
I think it still is.
Oh, I don't think it is anymore. 2,000 years ago, it was important to explain to uh, Genghis Khan. Well, that's a good, not a good analogy.
Well,
It was good
let
to
me put it this
explain
way.
to a
I'll make your
barbarian.
point for you.
Hmm.
Yes, 2,000 years ago, people didn't know how to cook pork.
Hmm.
And so pork is illegal in certain religions
Hmm. Because it was filled with
because
viruses and
it has viruses and they
parasites,
didn't know how to cook it.
and they would
And so
die.
when people ate pork, they died.
Hmm.
And
Don't do it.
so you told people don't eat pork,
Hmm.
and they do it anyway because, well, what basis do you have for saying don't eat pork?
Hmm.
And then people said, well, if that doesn't work, hold on a second. Well, don't eat pork, and if you do eat pork, well, you're gonna burn in an eternal fire for all of eternity,
Because
and
that's the only thing that would
torture.
scare people.
Exactly. Now, you don't have to believe in the eternal fire, but you do have to understand that eating pork without cooking it properly will kill you, right?
Hmm.
And we nowadays know how to cook pork so it won't kill us. So we, even Christians and whatnot, disregard
Disregard it.
the the rules about eating pork.
Great. We're smarter now. We can disregard the old fables, the old nonsense.
Yes, and now that we've figured out how to get around that problem, we disregard that part or that teaching in the Bible or the Torah or whatever it is, wherever it comes from, right?
Hmm.
Okay. So if we accept religion as a handbook for having a good society, and we know that there are certain things that we can dispense with now that we have overcome those challenges. I will posit or suggest that we have not overcome the challenges of humanity.
No, we still have problems. There are still people who would eat rape for dinner and murder for breakfast. And those are bad people that we need to deal with in a societal way.
But
telling them that they should be afraid
what?
of hellfire forever is not the way to do it anymore. We have grown past that. We should shed the training wheels of society. And that's the way I would describe that religion. The way you're describing it back then, don't eat the pork, don't hurt people, don't murder people or else you'll burn in the fires of hell, are training wheels. Societal training wheels.
I don't think that you have a leg to stand on for telling people they shouldn't do something, though, if you don't have an objective moral order.
Of course I don't. It's subjective. I'm going to try to convince them that this makes for a better world. This makes for a better world. Well, then I need to explain that to them the best way that I can.
Care.
They don't care. Then when they break the laws of the society, we'll put them in a box. We'll put them in a concrete box. Not happy about it, but if they will not stop harming people, if I suggest to them, human freedom is good and right, and you have harmed someone's human freedom, and they refuse, I'm going to put them in a box. You're right that sometimes people don't care, and there is no right answer except violence. I just want to make that violence as correct as possible.
I think that you have. I think that in the end, in your brain, there is an objective moral order, but you're not willing to admit it.
No, I don't think there is. There is not an objective moral order.
Because everything you describe sounds like an objective moral order. Or at least the enforcement of one.
You can't have an objective moral. Morals don't exist. Can you fill this cup with morals? I don't think you can. Because it is not an object.
No, you're wrong. Because there is, and hold on a second. Are you vegetarian?
No.
Are humans just animals?
Yes.
Why is it wrong to kill a human and not wrong to kill an animal?
Vegan ethics are complicated, and the vegans are probably kind of right. I just don't want to be a vegan. Vegan ethics are superior to mine.
I think that's an insane statement.
How is that insane? Vegan ethics of not harming the cows or the 50 shrimp that I ate for dinner is ethically better than what the position I'm in right now. It's just that I can't personally follow that ethical code.
Okay.
I try
to. So you agree with the ethical code. You just
I can see that it is important and better, and I try to follow it when I can. I do like meatless Mondays or something along those lines. On Monday, I don't eat any meat. There's the plan. Small steps, tiny little insignificant things. Waldo not eating meat on Monday isn't changing the entire cattle industry within the country. I dig that. But Waldo doing that and then telling everybody else that they should do that, and then maybe telling your friends, hey, just go 1 day a week without meat. If the entire country starts to do that, does it change the cattle industry within the country?
I'm not talking about the industry. I'm talking about the morals themselves.
Yeah, the only reason I would do that is because the morals are good.
If humans are just animals, then killing another human being and killing a cow should have the same weight.
From a subjective moral order, you could argue that.
No,
It's
from
not
an
the
objective
moral
one.
order.
If
No,
that's
from
your objective,
no.
Well, hold on.
From you're making a subjective moral order
I'm
there, and
asking
I'm just
why
not
it
a.
is that
Why
you
is it?
value humans over animals.
Because they have uh, autonomy and the um, what's the word? Sentient life is more valuable than non-sentient life.
You mean sapient?
Sentient, sapient, maybe. They're similar. Cows are sapient, but humans are sentient, right? Uh,
Backwards.
have I got it backwards? Okay.
Yeah.
Regardless, uh, anybody who can think, I think, therefore I am. And by killing that person, you have stopped that person thinking. You have stopped that they're no longer I am. That is why you don't kill humans. This is bad. They're sapient human beings. We like that. I think that that is a valuable thing within this universe. And you're harming that person's freedom. That person
Okay.
has, I suspect
Now,
that you
a
do in fact
person.
have feelings and emotions.
Oh, certainly I do.
I think that you do, and I
You've
think that
you've
everybody
witnessed them.
does. I
You've
know.
seen me get angry.
I think that
Uh,
everybody has those, and by harming you, I have harmed those things. So I should pay I should have a consequence, and I don't want that to happen. But that cow also has less sapience. It has less sentience. It is a cow. I recognize that uh, the vegan ethics say that this cow is 100% the same as a person. I just don't believe them completely. Their
I
ethics are
think that
better than mine. That's all.
if we argued long enough
Hmm.
about the moral order, we would end up coming to a conclusion that results in what we would at least approximate as an objective one, regardless of whether there is a God or not that mandates it.
No,
And I'll give you an example.
because there will still be exceptions, loopholes, and it will be so many loopholes, so many exceptions, so many wild ass what ifs that it won't be objective any longer.
Exceptions and loopholes necessarily are uh, different circumstances which you would apply different rules for. That doesn't mean they're not objective.
Can you find all the loopholes? Can you create all the what ifs? You will never, never, never run out of what ifs. And if you can never run out of what ifs, it is not objective.
You can compare the what ifs to the objectivity that you already have and apply what you have and then make judgments. Yes, it's
That sounds
subjective
very
about.
subjective to me.
Don't interrupt me when I say it's subjective. You can make those judgments and then sometimes those judgments can actually be wrong.
Yes, they can.
Yes. But we should strive to approximate the objective moral order. I think there actually is one. I think that this idea of a subjective moral order, the gangbanger that drives by and shoots 15 people, or rather fires 15 shots and kills 4 people,
Hmm.
doesn't think they did anything wrong.
Right. I agree that some people can kill people and think that they haven't done anything wrong.
Okay.
That's because an objective moral order cannot exist. It doesn't exist within the human brain. It doesn't exist anywhere.
Well, if there is no objective moral order,
Hmm.
and they didn't think they did anything wrong, should we punish them for it?
Yes,
Why?
because they're a part of our subjective moral order. We have determined that those 4 people that he shot had autonomy, they had sentience and sapience, and he has taken that from them.
And you're saying that we should just be the deciders. What if that guy
We should
was
have a system that
aggressive?
just makes that decision. We should have a system that makes those decisions. We should have a system that benefits the most people with the most freedom.
I think that you've lost the plot entirely
Uh,
because
we're
hold on
talking
a
about
second.
big things, yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about big things. What about the Aztecs?
Not the Aztecs, okay? The
They
Aztecs.
sacrificed people to
They're
whoever, I forget who.
standing on top of a very big pyramid, and they're chopping heads off and rolling them down. Great. They are
Well,
also
they thought that was
wrong.
right.
They thought it was right, and they were wrong.
How do you know they're wrong?
Because I'm telling them that they are. I've
Well, that's just
subjectively,
like
I've
your
looked at it,
opinion,
and
man.
I'm telling them, great. They're only that's all that exists, man. Opinions. There is no. I'm going to draw a chart for next week because I've drawn this chart out already. I love where we're at. I'm glad we're here, and I'm going to draw you a chart. I might even bring our cyber specialist Matt on next week because he helped me draw the chart. I drew it several years ago, and you are bouncing around that chart. But I think that if we draw the chart out and it's laid out in front of you, we can follow it and see where the problems are. And guess what? That chart is not completely objective. It will be wrong sometimes. It will be subjective based on the things that I see and how I see them and how I put them in places.
Before you show me the chart,
Mhm.
I'll encourage you to look at it.
Mhm.
And ponder the idea of an objective moral order versus a subjective one.
I will think about that, but I think that's an oxymoron. Again, objective, moral. Morals are not objects. They cannot be measured with a ruler.
Objective
Morals.
is not related to objects. No.
Objective
Objective
is
is
not related to objects.
related to
My man.
this is a fact versus this is a feeling. This is a fact versus this is an opinion. This is the truth. This is what you think.
I'm looking up objective right now. Because maybe I've got a bad...
Not influenced by personal feelings or opinions in
Yeah, let me
considering
put it
and
on screen.
representing
Main
facts.
screen for objective is a person or their judgment not influenced by personal feelings or opinions in considering and representing facts. Facts. Morals aren't facts. Morals aren't facts.
I think they can be.
No. Then they would be called
Well,
facts. They're morals.
Morals should be derived from facts, should they not?
They are in the same ballpark as intelligent thought, but facts are measurable. Morals are not. Moral, concerned with the
Sort of
principles of right and wrong behavior and the goodness or badness of human character. That is what a
where I
moral
was
is.
going
You can't
with
measure
the hold
the
on, where
goodness
I
and
was going
badness
with
of a
the
human character.
question
Mhm.
is I think that religion is a handbook. I think that the things that make a society work. We've had societies for thousands of years. We've had empires rise and fall.
Mhm.
Many cultures rise and fall.
Mhm. Some better,
We're
some
just at
worse.
the latest iteration.
We are the latest one, yes, I agree. Temporally
Or at
speaking,
least
we
the
are the
current
latest one.
Yes, you're the latest one, temporally speaking. Religions took rules that were observed over the course, in some cases, of thousands of years,
Sometimes they
and
did,
said,
yes.
hey, if you want a society that works, here's the rules.
Okay. And sometimes they made shit up. There weren't any angels.
They said, here's the rules if you want a society that works.
Mm-hmm.
Also, don't eat pork, it'll kill you.
Also,
But
this guy came back from the dead, which didn't happen. And also, this guy walked on water, which didn't happen.
it doesn't have to be. Well, you're missing the point. The point is that if you want a functioning society, We have handbooks for that. And it brings us right back to our bridge analogy, I suppose. Is you have a place you want to get to as a liberal, but that bridge has not been built yet. You're going to drive us off the edge. Human beings need a set of rules now, and they still will for probably a few centuries
Society
at
needs
least.
rules. I agree. Society needs rules. I'm on board. Let's build a system of rules. Let's argue with each other about what those rules ought to be. Let's meet on a YouTube and discuss what the rules should be.
I'm just telling you that the rules have already been laid out. It's very easy. You look at a religion and you see, or actually not just one, but all of the religions, and find their commonalities, because those commonalities are the handbook for a functional society. And then you say, okay, what is it? Why is it? Maybe if you study the history, you say, why is it that that this religion took form in the first place? Why is it that someone took the time to write this down? Why is it that it became accepted universally? Why is it that it has persisted for thousands of years? It's because it's a handbook.
Great.
It's a handbook that works.
Can I take the best parts and chop out the parts where they say that bats are birds and rabbits chew their cud and that you shouldn't eat shellfish?
Certainly.
Okay,
You
so
can.
that
But,
is
hold on.
subjective.
No, it's not.
Subjective,
Because
based on or
you've taken a
influenced by
look at the
personal
handbook.
feelings, tastes, or opinions.
You've taken a
There.
look at the handbook,
Uh-huh.
and then you've seen that X, Y, and Z is no longer the case.
Like the
For
rules for
example,
slavery
the rules for pork
or slavery
You
that
can't-
are in the Bible.
or slavery. Sure.
Great. As Kyle brings up, there are rules in the Bible about how to treat your slaves. Now, based on my personal feelings, my tastes, and my opinions, I'm going to remove those from my society and my societal rules handbook moving forward.
Okay.
That is the definition of subjective.
It's not. It's an
It is,
update
though.
of the. It's an update. It's not a subjective change. It's an objective update.
No. Based on my feelings and opinions about slavery, I'm going to remove it from society. That is a subjective change. It was okay back then. I'm telling you that it is not now. Subjective. If objectivity were possible, it would have been found by now. And it can't be, because it is all within our brains. Definitions exist only within the human brain. Emotions exist
disagree
only
with that
within human brains.
assertion as well.
How the definitions that I'm looking up online right now exist only within the human brain.
Totally silly. No.
How is that silly? We
it is
invented
possible.
language. Language is a device that we invented.
Language conveys meanings.
Yes. And if
And-
you don't share those meanings with me, it's worthless. It doesn't accomplish anything. Definitions aren't measurements. Measurements exist. Measurements is a thing of physics, but words can't be measured.
No,
Ideas
but words do
aren't
have
measured.
meaning.
Words have meaning if we give them meaning. Words have meaning if we all agree that they have that meaning. Words are very subjective. And the morals that you're describing are situations either written or talked about or described with that language. So everything
At some
is
point,
subjective.
at some point,
Mm-hmm.
if you let the morals become too lax,
Mm-hmm. Too much freedom.
you end up with situations where there is no protection of rights.
I can agree to that. I can comprehend that. I think that that is a true statement that you just said. If the rules are too willy-nilly, lax, and not enforced, then people will be harmed.
Do you think that we're already at that point or not?
God, no. Not
What
even
about if I
close.
park my car in San
That's
Francisco?
that's anarchy you're describing. That's anarchy you're
Uh-huh.
describing.
I am. I am describing that, and
Okay.
you are the one advocating for it.
I'm not an anarchist. I want the state to have power, authority, and rules.
Okay. So when I park my car in San Francisco and it gets
Uh-huh.
broken into
Uh-huh.
because I have a backpack in the back seat,
Mm-hmm.
and leftists have controlled San Francisco for 70 years now,
Mm-hmm.
and my car is broken into, and I call the cops, and nothing happens because the cops won't do anything about it. They won't. They won't look for the criminal. They won't prosecute the criminal.
That sounds like a bad system that ought to be fixed.
I'm gonna go further, and you just looked up the 10 most dangerous cities,
Mm-hmm. St.
and
Louis, Detroit, Baltimore, Memphis, Little Rock, Milwaukee, Cleveland, Albuquerque, Kansas City, and Stockton. Ain't San Francisco.
well,
Because the
San
right-wing media
Francisco
lies
just
about
doesn't.
that.
Well, that's fine. All of those also are dangerous cities
They are.
that I recognize,
Okay.
and how many of them are governed by leftists?
Probably most of them.
I think all. I actually think all of them are.
Because that's where people are. People in
What?
cities vote Democratic. Because being in and around people moves you to the left. Being isolated in the middle of a cornfield makes you right wing. Turns you that way. Being in a large city with lots of people, seeing a diversity of people on a regular basis, turns you left. It moves you left.
Moves you left and then turns your cities into the most dangerous places in the country. Awesome.
Because that's where all the people are, man. There are very few crimes I can commit against a person while I am alone in the middle of a wheat field.
Do you think this is a or do you not think this is a per capita thing? Because you can look up per capita.
Well, I think it is an obvious thing. I think it is a thing that's going to happen, and people are going to argue about it forever. The point, I comprehend what you're saying, that if the rules are too lax and these people break into your car, then you have been harmed. And you're right. And if the system isn't making it difficult for these people to break into your car, then the system is failing. And if that system is allowing people to break the rules and harm other people's freedoms, it's a bad system. Let's make a better system. I'm on board.
Okay.
I'm
And
not.
how do you get people to
Leftists
follow
aren't.
that system?
Leftists aren't just saying, "Oh, well, that's just this just they just broke your car and stole your backpack." It's not a big deal.
Well, that's how it
That's
feels
not what they're
when my
telling you.
car gets broken into and I call the cops and I say, "Hey, my car got broken into," and they say, "Sorry about that. Bye."
Yeah, they suck.
It's fucking infuriating, isn't
You're
it?
right. Maybe we should defund them and stop giving them so much money. If they're not
Well,
doing a
if they're
good
not going
job,
to do anything anyway.
if they're not going to do anything anyway, we should defund them. Great.
But
So
hey, we have cops
subjectively,
to enforce certain rules, don't we?
subjectively, you just accepted defund the police. So there are situations in which you could agree with certain things. So
Totally ridiculous.
depending on the situation, I know that's what I'm saying.
I was being
Situationally,
facetious,
I know.
but
Situationally, I don't think it's good to kill people, but situationally, you can defend yourself with deadly force if necessary. See how subjectives matters The situation you're in matters. Situational moral order is probably what I would call myself.
Regardless of what the
Situational.
situation is, there's still an objective
No.
moral order there. No, yeah, I think that you are misunderstanding what my argument is here. Then
Situational
um,
moral order is what I'm pushing for.
situational is not a thing. Subjective is your personal opinion and feeling.
Right.
Objective is whether or not it was correct.
No,
Objectively,
objective is
like the
factuals. Facts.
factual.
Objects
Right.
are facts.
So when we talk about a guy like Kyle Rittenhouse,
hmm That's
his
subjective top to bottom. Not
100% objective.
absolutely not. Just no. I
Yep.
don't know. Absolutely not objective. Objective.
Objective, 100%.
It is only about people's feelings and emotions.
No.
He felt like he needed to go protest. He felt like he needed to be there. He felt like the cops were on his side. He felt like this person was threatening. The person who
Hold on.
attacked Kyle Rittenhouse felt like he was a bad guy. Was arguing his positions with him at a protest.
Objectively speaking, no. He had the right to be where he was. He had the right to have the firearm that he had. Somebody came up to him and attacked him, and he ran away.
At random,
At first.
just at random. He was minding his own business. He wasn't doing anything controversial. He was just politely standing around where he was supposed to be. No.
Yes.
Subjectives matter.
No,
Subjectives matter.
excuse me. He was absolutely 100% within his rights to be where he
Was he at a protest?
doing what he was.
Was
What?
he there to he was there to protest.
No, he wasn't.
He wasn't there to protest. He was there
No.
to protect private property that wasn't his.
At the behest of
From
his brother, who
other
was
people.
there at the behest of his brother's friend.
Yeah,
Yes.
they were protecting random businesses.
Did
that
he have the
weren't
right to be there?
theirs. Maybe.
Objectively?
There
Did
is
he
no
have the
such
right to
thing
be
as
there?
objective.
Okay, well, did he have the right to be there?
Did he have the right to be there? Yes.
Yes, he did. Did he have the right to have the gun?
Subjectively, I would say no, but according to the laws that exist now, he did.
Okay, so objectively, yes, he had the right to be there.
Great.
And
then
then,
why was he there? Subjective
when
reasons.
he was attacked by somebody,
hmm
he ran away first, right?
Why did he get
did-
attacked?
he
You're skipping a
performed
step.
his-
You're skipping a step. Just randomly standing here, all of a sudden somebody just comes and punches me in the face. That's not how it happened.
The
He
first
was-
guy that
There was a
attacked
protest. He knew there
him
was a
was
protest.
belligerent,
went
and he was
looking for trouble.
No,
He was looking for trouble.
no, he was actually attacked
Yes.
out of pretty much out of the blue
Out of the blue.
by this
That
guy.
person,
Yep.
that guy, had never spoken to him, never said anything to him beforehand, never seen him before, said, hey, there's a kid with a gun, I'm going to attack him with my skateboard. That's how that happened.
You're
I don't
thinking
think
of
that's
the
how
wrong
that
guy.
happened. I thought there was a skateboard involved.
Nope.
I could be
Second
wrong.
guy was the skateboard.
Second guy was the skateboard.
First guy literally did attack him unprovoked.
I don't believe you. I literally do not believe you.
Then
I
watch
don't
the court.
believe
watch
that's
the,
what
watch the
happened.
case. Watch the video. Watch all of the court proceedings. I did.
That's not objective
First guy.
either. There is no objective, man. There isn't.
There is objective.
No.
Yes.
Only within the realm
There
of
is
like
right and
physics.
there is wrong, and that is objective.
Absolutely not. There's no such thing. Right and wrong exist only within the human brain. Right and wrong only exist within the human brain.
What an absurd idea.
How is that absurd? Is there a time on this planet that humans didn't exist? 7 billion years ago, there were no humans. Was there right and wrong back then? No.
Whereas,
There
was there
wasn't.
anything capable of comprehending right and wrong?
You just used the word comprehend, man. I said good and right and wrong only exist within the human brain, and then you start talking about comprehension? Where does comprehension come from? Human brains.
My man, you don't get it.
I don't.
You the the idea of right and wrong as an objective thing, yes, you have to be able to comprehend it. That's why we don't hold animals responsible for killing another animal.
You just said idea. Where do ideas come from? Human brains. There is an idea of right and wrong. I agree. Right and wrong is an idea. It's not objective. It is a human thought process.
It is. There is an objective right and wrong.
No, absolutely not. I would love to talk to you about this next week. We're gonna bring uh, links. We're gonna bring videos, and we're gonna go over it
Okay.
next week. There is no objective right and wrong, according to me.
And also, we have to talk about Carl Rittenhouse because you're wrong. But
I don't want to talk about him anymore. Subjectively, he's wrong. Objectively, he's right. That's all there is to it. That's why you're on his side. Objectively, he is correct. You value objective things. Subjectively, he's wrong, and I value subjective things. So I say he's wrong.
yep, there is an objective moral order, and he was in the right in terms of objectively.
Great. I'm telling you there is no objective moral order, and subjectively, he was wrong. And we put different value. You and I put different value on different things, and some of those things are objective. And on your side, generally objective, and my side, they're subjective. And because chat is literally asking for no more Rittenhouse, but that's just damn it, chat. Anyway, subjective and objective are things that cannot mix. They cannot meet. And
You're right. I'm just right, and you're wrong.
what your
There you go.
objective, and I think your objective point of view is severely limiting and will actually lead to human stagnation.
Negative.
It's
But maybe a conversation for next week.
yes. Please tune in next week, Mr. Kyle, Mr. Shinzento, as we determine what is and is not real. The moral objectives versus the situational moral order, things like that. I'll try and read up some stuff, and I will give you some links on things that I'll be arguing from.
Sounds good.
And now we're getting into the really heady, complex stuff. I appreciate it. I like it.
Well, we're going to that philosophy arc that
philosophy
every
arc.
streamer goes through.
There you go. We're already on our philosophy arc, everybody. All right. Well, it's 1 o'clock. I have to go eat lunch. I appreciate it. I like everybody
Yep.
chipping in, and that's the end of the stream. Thank you.